Oh, hello. I didn't see you come in. Welcome to another episode of Golden Truths, an Umineko podcast, a podcast about Umineko. The first of two, probably, tea parties that we will be hosting. Welcome to our tea party. I am Jennifer Booher, host and witch of communication, joined by my now regular cohort of Annabelle Barsky.
Hope you're ready for things to get wet and wild, babes.
Caelum O'Leary-Codair.
I was gonna make tea to drink at this tea party, but I managed to tear open the tea bag, and I was like, oh, okay, I have a tea infuser. So I put in the tea infuser, and I didn't realize that, like, tea in tea bag is really fine, so I just dropped tea fucking everywhere in my kitchen.
We're dropping tea? Is that what we're doing now?
Not yet.
Isabelle Valant.
Hi, everyone calls me Izzy. I swear to you, I will prove that Kinzo personally fathered every child at the orphanage.
And, of course, last but certainly not least, is Matthew Winter.
I think tea is not all that great, and I prefer straight water to it, honestly.
You motherfucker.
Of course you do.
I've got a strong cup of lavender chamomile right now.
Hey, Matt. I don't like tea either. That's why I'm taking estrogen.
Oh, it's gonna get pretty wet and wild.
I told you.
This episode. So yeah, welcome to our tea party. Everybody who thought to make tea themselves has their tea, and we are here, gathered here, and we're just going to. There have been some extra materials accruing around the edges of Umineko, pamphlets released at Comiket, and things written in bonus books and stuff like that. And we're just going to gather all that up, talk about it here, and maybe get into a little bit of theory crafting. But before we do that, we have a very important piece of business that we need to attend to.
Which one?
I'm scared.
Isabelle.
What?
Literally moments ago, you asked what a kin was.
Yes, I do need to know.
Start with this.
It's time. I don't know what kins there are to assign at this point, given that we're only halfway through. But like a theory, these are going to be some called shots. So let's just kind of spread them around.
Are we assigning each other kins? Oh God, I take
know.
it back about wet and wild.
You were
I
all
take
the
it back.
people
I
who
take
were
it
so
back.
excited about this segment. I'm just
I was asked before this began. Well, I guess we all were asked. Was like, who's your Umineko kin? And I was like, what's a kin? And I have an answer, but I don't know if the answer makes sense because I don't exactly know what a kin is.
A kin is whatever you want it to be, my friends.
That's the kind of sense that I've got from like kind of latter day current internet.
Well,
It's a little bit like magic.
It's a little bit like
from my
magic.
limited understanding, I would say Maria is probably my kin.
Yeah, definitely. You're
Yeah,
Maria
honestly.
Mm-hmm.
No doubles.
No doubles. Don't worry. We abide by rules here.
Uh-huh.
Maria Kin is perfect for you. Yeah, you got a soul connection with that character. You relate to the mannerisms of that character. She's the best character, whether or not she's my kin. That's just true. So you picked good.
Thank you.
Imagine the person who kins Rosa.
Cool.
I will
That's like,
personally
I won't.
kill them.
There's a girl boss out there listening to us right now whose heart
See,
is
my
shattering.
favorite thing about kin culture and kin communities is that, like, it's like being a poison dart frog. If you fucking post in public that you kin of Rosa, then free invitation to never interact with you. Like, dodge the most dodged bullet ever.
I hear if you lick a Rosa Kin, you can get really high.
I've heard that too, yeah.
Matt, go next.
Yeah, well, Matt is done. Matt was solved before this podcast began. Matt is Maddler, 100%, no question about it.
I don't have any arguments to present against this, except that it's not even I was dragged unwillingly into this, it's more like I booted up the game and was like, oh, there I am.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you are the perfect Umineko player. You are like, I feel like the position that you exist in as a reader, especially when we started, and as we've grown on, I think you've developed as a reader in really interesting ways. But certainly when we started, you were pitch perfect, like the exact assumed reader position that Ryukishi was writing for, which is great. So in that way, you are exactly Battler. You are the person on the other side of the game board. Anna. Anna.
I recuse myself from this discussion.
I feel like, well, based on your character likes and what I know about all the fan art you've been reblogging, I'd say it has to be Shannon.
Oh shit.
100%.
It is. I just that character is so inspiring to me on every level. She is a human. She is a pathetic bitch. She does believe in magic and can do magic. She is not necessarily a witch, but like maybe she is. We don't really know what's going on there.
She's a Cinderella, and that's one of the best character
she's a
types of all.
romantic at
Absolutely
heart.
a Cinderella, yeah.
Yeah. She's got it going on. Her boobies are out, and good for her.
Caelum, what about you?
So unfortunately,
Setting aside spoiler characters who don't exist
unfortunately,
right now.
every person who has interacted with me before this point has told me that I will kin a character who shows up past where we read. I know nothing about that.
I can 100% assent to that assessment, but we are not talking about that fake character who's not real right now.
Not that character. But honestly, if I have to pick, probably Angie. Definitely of the Angie scenes, that's a character that I resonate with a lot and read a lot of my own experiences into. So, and I guess in that classical definition of kinning, literally me.
Yeah, definitely.
You were nicknamed, I suppose, Gretel in our group chat for the past, month. So.
Yeah, because if I say too much, then Jen is going to rip me apart with red hot pincers until I die.
I will. They're right behind you right now. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And you, Jen?
Jensica, what about you?
I feel like positionally, I have, like, just in terms of this podcast, I feel like I have to be Beatrice because I'm the one who is conducting the game.
Oh, just in terms of the podcast. What about for real?
Kinzo. I'm guessing Kinzo.
Oh God.
My lips are sealed.
Oh, it's a spoiler character too.
No, it's I can't accuse myself in that way. I don't know.
I can.
I like Angie. I like Battler. I like the position of the detective, of the person trying to like weed through all of the mystery and understand the nature of fantasy and like, you know, through ups and downs, through the high points and the low points of their posture towards the mystery. I like all that stuff a lot. But as we said, no doubles, so I can't claim either of them. So like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be like fucking Professor Otsuki or something?
No.
No, you're picking Kyrie and you know it.
Oh God.
In a secret conversation I had one-on-one with a witch, there was a time where said witch mentioned she was like, in a better world, Jessica just gets to be the protagonist of this game. She gets to do the detective work too, and there's no need for, you know, booby manhandler battler in that world, and she gets to fill that detective role. And I think that, on top of the punching, on top of the romanticism.
Well, she said it, not me, so we'll just go with that.
Yeah, which was right though.
No, Jessica led Umineko is so juicy. What a world that would be. God, I think position as them as like, well, they're both about the same age. They both have pretty similar demeanors. Her and Battler, like her versus Beatrice, I just think is very fun. It's worthwhile. What if all of the romance undertones between Detective and Beatrice were gay romance undertones? That's all I want to say.
That would be a better novel, to be honest.
What if Umineko was gayer? God damn it.
We're working on it.
We're queering. Welcome to Queering Umineko.
It's time for our
podcast
queries.
Within a podcast.
Queer Eye for Battler guy.
Oh God.
That's Renove. Renove's like, I can fix him.
As bonus material,
make him worse.
We did sit down about a week and a half ago and just go, okay, so who in Umi is not straight? And we had a pretty sizable list. I thought it'd only be like 2 or 3, but man, we got places.
I forgot everything on that list. I have to go look for it now.
Did anyone keep it? Yeah.
The magical thing about otaku media, and certainly otaku media that we, a bunch of queer-ass motherfuckers, are reading through in 2021, is that, is that anyone can be gay if you want them to be. Like, there are just enough undertones and, like, cheeky asides that it's like, I can just take this bait, I can take this crumb, this atom that you've given me, and I can spin an entire world out of it. It's my right as a witch.
Did we successfully communicate during last episode that Gap is canon when she grows up and transitions?
I feel like that's something that we all came to post podcast.
That's important.
So.
That's just an important little tip.
No, we definitely mentioned it last episode, but like just for a sentence.
It just bears repeating.
Anyway, I found the sentence because I searched straight in our Discord, and it was one of the very few results.
I got 0 results. Weird.
So our not straight cis list was Genji, Ronove, Canon, and Jessica My Necessity because Canon is trans.
Yes, yeah.
We did sit down, and me and Caelum locked arms, and we proudly proclaimed as one that Kinzo does fuck men, but is not gay.
Yeah, he's a super straight. Absolutely. He just bros down with Genji sometimes, and he wonders why Genji's so weird about it.
Please don't say super straight. I
That's
don't
all
like to
that
think that. I don't like to think about how that exists. It brings me down, you know?
He just loves being a man and masculine, and sometimes that's sharing the masculinity of other people, but like in a no homo sort of way.
Let's be real.
Forming a
Like if
Dojin circle.
if Kinzo was not straight, then Umineko just would not have happened. And
That's true.
the Shiromiya family wouldn't be remotely as dysfunctional as it is.
You've never met a toxic rich gay. You've never
Well, he would probably still beat his kids, but he wouldn't be
Lockheed
fucking...
Martin CEO ass.
He wouldn't be keeping women captive on his fucking remote island. Probably.
Well, that's
Maybe he might still,
yeah.
but... Actually, maybe it wouldn't change much. But I do think he's straight.
Not to hashtag transition this, ha 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 ha, the levels, but there is a piece of evidence, a little piece of flotsam that's gathered around from this bonus content that does somewhat reveal to us that maybe Beatrice, the original Beatrice, Golden Witch, big dress, cackle Beatrice in her original form was trans, and that is from the bonus contents. And I don't want to take us out of this segment and into the bonus content segment.
It sounds like you really want to take
I
us
think
to
you
that
do.
segment.
Listen, I have some big news for everybody.
I mean, I put that towards the bottom, but we can just jump right into the deep end if we want to talk about all this stuff. Let's just fuck like this. Right. So I should say, to set up first, as the episodes are coming out, as the official mainline episodes of Umineko are coming out at Comiket and at various points throughout the year, sometimes to like commemorate the start of the Umineko manga, sometimes in those kind of guidebooks that I mentioned that I don't remember the name of now. There have been little short stories written by Ryukishi and seeded out into the world that I have compiled a guide for. I will put a link to that guide in the show notes, so you, dear listener, can go through and read all of these things in order. We will not be discussing them in order, but I'll try to bring up the release dates. Eventually, all of these kind of extant materials released up to that point are collected into a kind of bonus visual novel called Umineko no Nakukoro ni Tsubasa, which came out December 31st, 2010, which was the same day that the final episode 8, released. So there are some of these things we'll be discussing have visual novel versions, and some of them are available only in text. All of that stuff is noted on my guide that I made months ago while I was deep in the reading Umineko for the kind of the first real-time delirium. Some of these are kind of more like very Gaiden, very side story, very like, here's a silly thing that happened with the Seven Sisters and stuff like that. And some of them are much more serious and pertain to the mystery in a much more direct way, so much so that you could pretty much largely consider them canon. One of these most important fucking holy grails for the mystery people in the world is Memoirs of the Lambda Delta, released September 28th, 2008, collected into Tsubasa and a kind of light novel bound actual book release of these things called The First and Last Gift. That is not available in English, so don't look for it, obviously. In Memoirs of the Lambda Delta, we see Lambda Delta herself. She's writing a letter to someone who had sent her a letter in the past and talks about kind of her philosophy as the Witch of Certainty, and particularly how it pertains to granting wishes and what it means to grant a wish. Does someone have anything in particular?
Well, first, before we get to the juice,
before we get to
Beatrice
Transreal,
do you want to explain sort of the mystery business going on here and the rules that she's discussing and the Higurashi references just briefly, because they were truly baffling. And I feel like maybe they were important to the plot of this game and understanding how the rules in Higurashi worked versus how the rules in Umineko work. I had no idea what the fuck she was talking about, to be honest.
So Lambda Delta talks about Burns' letter actually talks about rules X, Y, and Z. Lambda Delta is talking about, like I said, like kind of her philosophy of certainty, and she's a witch who basically she's seeking people who can keep her entertained. That's something that we know both Burn Castle and Lambda Delta are seeking from what they've said in Umineko proper, is that they're seeking ways to keep themselves entertained as witches who, exist kind of above everything. In fact, Lambda Delta theorizes, or kind of like muses, that is the nature of a witch, is someone who is above, a physical human world, but below the world of like a true god or creator. And they're people who just have to find ways to keep themselves entertained. So
yeah, Lambda talks a little bit. This part I understood. She talks about who she decides to grant wishes to, because her special power is granting wishes. I gather that there's one person in the past who entrusted her, who she granted a wish to, actually. And I think the idea is that's like who wound up being the protagonist or the hero or whatever of Higurashi, the last series.
So we should
Uh-oh.
let me just say, like I've said in an earlier episode, blanket spoiler warning for Higurashi throughout this whole series, and that is still true, but I just want to reiterate it here in case people are jumping around or whatever. There will be intense spoilers for Higurashi through pretty much any episode that you listen to. Not that they definitely will show up, but they could. The potential for spoilers is here. There will be some spoilers in about 5 seconds, so you should probably, I don't want to just tune out of this episode, but maybe you should skip to the theory section, because there's going to be a lot of talk about Higurashi. Okay. It's not the protagonist, it's the antagonist. It is the villain of Higurashi, is this person that Lambda Delta grants the wish to, Mio Takano, who her certain desire to
prove her
Lambda
racist
Delta
grandfather correct.
Lambda Delta talks about how people wish for all kinds of things. They wish for all kinds of things that they want to be granted with certainty. Things like, I want $1 million, or I want to be happy, or all of this stuff. But Lambda Delta specifically says she doesn't grant wishes to people who do not possess that willpower to make that wish come true. She doesn't grant wishes so much as she does give guarantees,
She finds a sure bet. And
she is the safest gambler ever, essentially.
But when it comes right down to it, it's more of a situation of she will always bet on Goliath versus David. That's her entire character. Is she will bet on the brick wall of a person because it would take a miracle for anything to actually go through the wall of will that they put up.
Exactly. This talk of determination, the talk of in episode 2, was it, or episode 1, the Hidden Tea Party, they talk about how Lambda Delta's power is to bring the chance of victory down infinitely close to 0, but
She
not
is
exactly
super
to
paper,
0.
Yeah,
she is super paper. God, what a great line. So Takano, basically Lambda Delta like appears to Takano in a vision, like in a dream or whatever, I think we're meant to take. Or maybe she literally just appears in front of her. Who knows? That whole part's vague. But basically, Takano says that she possesses this certain willpower. She possesses that certain drive to make her wish come true. And Lambda Delta asks, well, what's your wish? And Takano's wish is to become a god. And this Lambda Delta fucking falls head over heels and is like, absolutely, I will guarantee your wish. At this point in When They Cry, the meta series of When They Cry really associated with the antagonist, because not only has Lambda Delta backed Takano, the previous antagonist, but she's also backing Beatrice, which we know from both tea parties and Hidden Tea Parties earlier, and also from the next segment where she talks about, that little girl. Takano tried very hard, but she ultimately did not possess that certain willpower because she's stopped by Rika in the Miracle and all of that stuff. Matsuri Bayashi, Higurashi, go check it out. But then she meets this new kid who asks to be turned into a witch. Stop fucking the thing The story screeches to a halt. Ryukishi inserts an author's note, which reads, according to this translation, which I don't have the translator on hand for me, but a lot of these are being translated from Chinese rather than from the original Japanese, so just know that there's the translations for these, if and when you seek them out, might be a little strained. That's just kind of the nature of the beast here. Ryukishi inserts an author note that reads, strictly speaking, even if it's a male, you can still call him a witch. Therefore, you can't conclude the gender of this person is female. By means of the speech, I want to become a witch.
And let me tell you, from experience with this sort of shit, having been transgender for a couple of minutes, having read a couple of fucking things, you do not get that clarification ever in any instance unless there's 100% certainty that character is not exactly up to the cis-ass expectations. So that fucking author's note that he put in, oh, just to be courteous, that motherfucker straight up just confirmed to us that Beatrice is trans.
Taking this very, very seriously, I see.
Not only is this the best thing that's ever happened to me personally, it's also a really big deal plot-wise, and I have some things to get into. I swear I won't get into them now. In theory crafting, I have a whole Beatrice screed, but the point is, it really adds another dimension to that character, knowing that a little quote boy reached out and wished to be a witch, and not only knew that she was a witch, not only wished that she was a witch, but knew she was a witch in her heart strongly enough to make a world of magic, is what this side story describes. When this child is talking to Lambda Delta in the memoirs of Lambda Delta, she says, Lambda's like, I was so interested in her assertiveness that I looked into her codex of magic and her concept of what magic was, and hers was already so much more fucking impressive than anything I had ever imagined magic could be used for or could contain, that I had no choice but to ensure that she was a witch. So I just think it's pretty cool, and I think that's just the power of transgenderism, baby. So that's where I'm coming from with all this.
As we
outside
know,
of theory crafting.
All trans people are witches and are capable of magic.
It's true.
It is true.
I want to say that I am deeply philosophically aligned with Annabelle here. I want to get that out of the way before I say this next thing, which is trying to read this. It would very difficult for me trying to read this as neutrally as possible, trying to just take the text at its word. I think what this note does is, in terms of the mystery, Beatrice is a woman. Beatrice is very explicitly a woman. She's she all the way down. She is has a lot of womanly traits, all of that stuff. I think what's interesting about this note is that it tries to very deliberately open the culprit possibility space to include people like Kraus, people like fucking Goda, people like Cannon, all of that stuff. It's really, which I think is really interesting in from a perspective of trying to preserve. I think even I know about some of the theories that we'll be talking about later, and I think a lot of the theories are constructed around female culprits, which is this note exists basically not to deny a female culprit, but to it leaves that possibility space open, which I think is a very interesting move.
Okay, so
from Ryukishi.
So okay, that is a more interesting take on it than straight up.
I don't think it's. I
don't think it's better or truer than mine, but I think from a mystery perspective and a gameplay perspective, I was so blinded. I was so caught up in a world where Beatrice was trans, I didn't even think of that. You know.
Hey, if it's any consolation, I just thought that the second person was Kinzo.
I also thought it was Kinzo.
So,
oh really?
Your idea is a lot better.
That was the reading.
Yeah,
I
just thought the reason why they used she after the editor's note was just a translation error. And
they don't actually use any pronouns after the editor's note. It says this kid every time.
And it's very specifically they. I think they're probably in the original Japanese.
Document or the
Watashi.
visual novel version?
Visual novel.
Really?
For this one, I just read our little printout here. I didn't have time to visual novel all of them.
It says, trust me, my antenna were up. It was this kid every time.
I seem to remember there being a couple she's, so
there is like a little girl in the thing I'm looking at.
Yeah, because Lambda adults be very affirming.
When they say a little girl, she's like referring to the previous person, because she says,
oh,
like,
you're right.
The little girl had wished for this, and I gave it to her, but she was never able to make it, blah blah blah. But this kid already had such an impressive codex, blah 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 blah.
I think the reading of this person is Kinzo could hold up, and but there's a very specific thing at the end which makes me think it's Beatrice, which is at the very end after Lambda Delta guarantees this certain magical world. She says, to savor this wonderful black tea alone would really, really be a waste. I have to call a friend too, right? I have to surprise them with a wonderful tea party, which then would, I think, lead into Burncastle being invited to challenge Beatrice's game board.
Yeah,
I think is what's being implied there.
Yeah, no, I definitely, now being broached with it's Beatrice, I way prefer that reading.
And just to be clear here, to maybe do a little bit of twisted logic on my own, just because we know that Kinzo is dead at the start time of all the game boards, doesn't mean that he can't be Beatrice too. Like, where's the rule that says that? I don't know. Maybe you guys are totally right.
I mean, or magic could be real and Beatrice is just her own person.
It's true. Maybe anything is real.
Also, can we get into anti-mystery versus anti-fantasy next, so I can slam dunk that idea in the garbage, Jen, where it belongs?
Well, let's take a break and talk about one of the lighter ones really quickly. Matt, would you like to tell us about Goda's unionization adventures?
Yes. Oh my god,
I hate it. I hate it.
I love it.
So,
senior Goda correspondent Matt.
We seriously, for real, get Goda's private journal where he's writing a memoir of things he wants to forget. And the first thing he wants to forget is how he used to work at a highfalutin restaurant as a chef in a line of chefs. He wasn't the head chef, but he was a damn good chef in his own right. And the head chef kind of butted heads with hotel management. Hotel management told him to keep costs down. He said it's important to have a certain flair and a certain way of doing things. Chefs have to do things the way chefs want to do them, otherwise we're just not chefs. That's not how you do it. And eventually, he suddenly has to retire and doesn't have time to set up a replacement. So the hotel staff puts a milquetoast, like, centrist guy in the position who just ruins the atmosphere there. And at this point,
I think Keeley, they install someone who is there. He ruins the atmosphere, but he's also like someone who will protect the hotel's interests, and the hotel's interests are like staying under budget, delivering things in a timely manner, where all the chefs want to pursue like kind of the art of chefdom and put their own flair on things, which unfortunately runs
cooking.
Yeah, like cooking. Chefdom. I don't know. It's fucking food make.
Chefdom.
Wow.
But it's a very, I think, a kind of classic budding of interests between people who love their job but can't work within, or aren't interested in, or for whatever reason can't work within the kind of business realities as the people who run the business see them. So
they go and install this guy who's ruining everything. And at this point, I was like, oh, that guy must be Goda. No. Goda's not the shithead milquetoast guy. Goda actually rises up with the other chefs and the assistants, forms a union, presents their demands, but unfortunately the assistants leave the chefs high and dry on actual unionization day, and all the chefs are systematically fired or put in such a miserable work condition that they have really no choice but to quit, and they're blacklisted from every hotel ever. And that's what happened to Goda, because against all odds, this guy just came through for this, and he showed up and he wanted to, stick up for his job. He would never go against food, I guess.
Goda has scruples. 2021.
He has principles.
I think it's interesting because when he talks about it, it's all in like passive voice, right? Like I kind of got the vibe that he regret doing labor organizing, which like when the result was like he was so broke and desperate that he fucking got hired by those Shiramias.
The result wasn't just that he got fired. The result was that like a lot of the people who actually spoke up, Matt, you said they formed a union, but the kind of key thing is like, one, I don't know enough about Japanese labor laws to truly speak to this, but I think what we're meant to take is that it wasn't a union. Like, they didn't have like a card vote or anything. It was like it's kind of an informal agreement, and maybe it could have become a union had people decided to strike, but the solidarity wasn't there. Half the people kind of backed down, and the people who were disliked by the management, the proposed strike and the hostilities, the bubbling tension became a great excuse to just fucking clean house and get all those guys out of there.
That does make sense, because Goda's very unlikable.
Yeah. The worst person made a great point.
So Goda goes to work for the Ushiromiyas, and that's the first half of this. And then he enters the spooky second half, which is so fascinating as team mystery here, because he's talking about how, oh, I was just fucking about, and oh no, on the shutter of the tool shed there was a Spooky's demon circle drawn. Weird, right?
Canon tells him this story.
This is my favorite story, because I think it really adds a lot, like, without either being an obvious joke or feel like maybe like hinting at too much, if that makes sense.
Totally. I mean, it's about kind of the relationship of the servants to Beatrice through Goda, like the new guy, Canon, the like kind of new guy, but like has more experience than him, and Genji, of course, as senior head servant who's been there from day fucking one. And we even get, Genji and Canon both tell stories about other servants who had like, oh, I heard from fucking Lunon or whatever that like one day when she was working she saw something over there, and like she followed this butterfly, and then when she turned around there was a fucking magic circle, and like how could it have been drawn there, and like all of that stuff. I think which is very fun.
I think it's interesting also because I think it like either throws a wrench into or just complicates a lot of the anti-magic arguments with regards to like the servants are working with Kinzo to fabricate Beatrice kind of theory, right? Because it's like, were they so willing to buy into this that I guess they were staging these like weird haunting shits? Like, I guess to initiate Goda, like, was this all an act? Like, if it doesn't feel like that's something that's really in character for either Genji or Canon, right?
Well, if you want to get into it, we'll get into it.
Yeah, let's dip our toes into. Let's not get fully into. Like,
belly flop.
Go ahead.
I believe that the point of these isn't to be anything else except practice. I don't think that the person drawing these circles meant to get caught doing it. They're just trying to practice for when the big day comes. They have 2 years from when Goda joins where this shit is happening.
Okay,
so from the way you just put that, it does sound like Goda joining is the inciting incident.
Yeah, that's Battler's sin, keeping Goda from being hired.
I've got 2 years. I've got to fucking kill all of these people.
I gotta get out of here. This is terrible. It is a hostile workplace with this guy here.
I mean, it's like, okay, so if it's practice, then that last incident feels weird. Like, okay, I guess that would absolve Genji, right? Because I don't think he would call Goda and be like, help me clean this shit up if like he had been the one to make the circle.
Yes, so I want to set this up. The key kind of incident in this that Goda, I think, he says he's writing to forget, is it's just him and Genji at the mansion that day for, everyone's out for one reason or another. It's just him and Genji. And Goda's been kind of talking smack about Beatrice, and Goda is like woken up, what is it, in the middle of the night or like right before dawn or something.
He just finished taking a refreshing bath.
Right. He doesn't say he runs in a towel, which is a little bit of scene setting that I didn't really need, Ryukishi.
It's so sexy.
But he runs in to find Genji in the middle of cleaning up this ridiculous, like, all the pots and pans are stacked on top of each other in the kitchen, and there's this weird red paint around all of the stuff, and all the ladles are stacked in this weird radial pattern. And
I mean, I trust Goda to know if something is blood or not, because he's a fucking chef.
Chef. Being a chef doesn't necessitate being a butcher.
You still have to cut meat. Blood is involved in the process. What are you talking about?
I'm saying, like, he like, it's one thing to recognize. It's one thing to recognize, like, I am cutting into this, the chilled rump that I've had in the fridge for several days. I don't know, fucking meat.
If you're trying to imply he's fucking Genji, I disagree, but you do your own.
Well,
Genji
He
has
bursts
taste.
into the kitchen wearing nothing but a towel.
Please, Genji is taken by Kinzo sexual
Goda
frustration.
did not want to admit it was blood. That's all I'm trying to get at. Anyways, This is the key incident where Goda, the question is, I think, if you're adopting an anti-fantasy stance, like, why the fuck would Genji pull this sick prank on Goda?
I know
like,
why.
as we all love to pull sick pranks on Goda, but like Genji just doesn't seem like that kind of guy, and like, why would he make all this extra work for himself? Like, all this, that, and the other. How did Genji, to our knowledge, doesn't know that fucking Goda was talking smack. Like, how would he have found out about that in the first place? Like, why would he do all this? That's what troubles all Goda, and so he just puts it out of his mind
Genji
and silently
is
accepts
the
Beatrice.
most sus motherfucker, and some of my theories heavily involve Genji being deeply involved in the culpritism.
I do want to point out real quick before you get too deep into this, there is a red truth that Genji is not a killer.
What?
Is there a red truth? I didn't see that. I mean that there's nothing in red in the non-VN version.
It's not in this one because nobody fucking dies. It's in episode 4. It's one of Lambda Deltas. It's Genji, Nanjo, and Kumasawa are not killers. Is something she says in.
Oh wow. Okay.
Holy
They're not
shit,
killers,
I
but
totally didn't
Genji's-
remember that. Oh my god.
Genji's involved heavily.
Yeah, he could be
Mhm.
like a accomplice, I guess, but
No, it's
I don't
not.
know. It just
he
feels
could
like
be.
that doesn't
He is.
add up. Okay, so he is. Okay, I see.
We'll talk about.
I'm also on team. He's on the bad guy squad. Well, not bad guy. He's on team Beatrice.
He's an
I
imposter.
see. Yeah, he's definitely the sus imposter for sure.
Among Us.
Sorry.
Well, that's notes from a certain chef.
Shirtless chef.
Oh.
Notes
Mm.
notes from a clean shaven chef. And here's the next thing that I just made reference to it, but let's go ahead and talk about anti-mystery versus anti-fantasy. Kind of, in my viewpoint, the most key non-main text to understanding Umineko. This was released August 16th, 2008, notably the same day that Banquet of the Golden Witch, episode 3, was released. And it's basically just kind of Ryukishi talking for a little bit about these two positions that he sets up, that he has set up in the novels, both anti-fantasy and anti-mystery. Anti-fantasy is pretty self-explanatory. He even says this in the bonus material, magic isn't real, witches can't exist, obviously quid pro quo. This is the anti-fantasy position. Everyone knows about this. But anti-mystery is a little more complicated. Basically, to sum it up, anti-mystery is the stance that it is impossible for humans to have truly perfect knowledge of anything, because it is impossible for us to completely unfalsifiably prove a fact, because
There is no such thing as truth.
there is no such thing as pure objective truth. There can always be some new revelation in science. We could learn tomorrow that actually, there are gremlins inside the Brawn tube or whatever. There is no way to fully 100% pin down truth. And as such, mystery novels, which exist as primarily the genre space of mystery, exist as these kind of logic puzzles, these little puzzle boxes for you to poke at and prod at and compare testimonies and all of this stuff, and to theoretically solve before even the detective does. But all of that hinges on this premise, this unspoken agreement, sometimes literally a formalized agreement, in the case of the early Ellery Queen novels, which Ryukishi brings up, between the author of the mystery and the reader, that the mystery is solvable, that the information that the detective digs up is itself complete and 100% true, and that there's no kind of if, ands, ors, or but about it. And even if there is an if, and, or, but, that if, and, or but is something that can be discerned through close reading of the text. There's not going to be some secret piece of evidence that comes out. But even that itself is artifice, right? That agreement between reader and author is that itself is fantasy. Where did that happen? Show me a molecule of that. Show me an atom of, of this trust between author and reader. So to that end, like, mysteries as they, are understood by humans cannot exist. They're just there can always be a new piece of evidence that shows up and overturns everything you thought you previously knew. You cannot prove that the devil does not exist.
Yeah, sort of what it postulates is like the byline, the motto of anti-mystery is like, since you can't ever be positive that you have all of the knowledge, and you can't ever be sure that you're actually able to solve the mystery, there's no point in trying. Unless God comes down and says, yes, you have all the knowledge. There's no point in trying. And that's sort of what anti-mystery at its as furthest extreme is.
Yeah, totally. And God coming down is like, especially in this case where we are reading a mystery novel, God coming down is directly analogous to the author, that unspoken agreement, to have the author speak that agreement, to say, yes, this is capable of being solved. It's only when, like, you have been given this assurance from this thing outside of the story, this essentially, for the terms of the story that you're reading and the thing you're trying to solve, complete fucking, like, supernatural occurrence that has happened to you, this reader who is trying to engage with this stuff.
But it also says that even that isn't good enough, because the author 5 minutes from now could just come back and go, yeah, you know what? Never mind. That wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as perfect information from any source, and therefore there's no such thing as a mystery.
And so these are essentially the two competing viewpoints of Umineko, where Battler's side is anti-fantasy and Beatrice's side is anti-mystery.
This gave me several feelings, but I want to first give credit to all of us participants in this podcast, not Jen, just because she doesn't participate.
Yeah, fuck Jen.
It's not. Yeah, sorry. No, I won't beat around the bush. Fuck Jen.
Damn it.
We love you, Jen. Thank you, Jen. All of us, like, mystery solvers in the podcast, I guess I'll say. All of us pawns running around the chessboard, running around Jen's torture maze, as she likes to call it for us personally. I want to give us credit because I feel like we sort of, like, came through this naturally without ever reading this. Like, we lived this character development arc where we were anti-fantasy and anti-mystery, and then we were the other way around, and then we sort of reached a synthesis in the middle. I feel like we did all of that, like, really naturally over the last 4 episodes of recording, so good job, us.
Huge lifting done on your side. You have big Hulk hands lifting up anti-mystery, and that's
For real.
I sure do.
This is something I've tried to kind of postulate in my own free time for years since reading this for the first time, as a teenager. There's anti-fantasy and anti-mystery, but what does, in both of those stances, you're against something. What does it mean to take just a mystery stance or a fantasy stance? Not to say that witches don't exist, but that I think that this has been the stance that I think a lot of the people on the kind of mystery side here, they're not so much on the anti-fantasy side, but on the pro-mystery side. Whether or not witches exist is irrelevant, because this is a mystery. This is something that we can grapple with and wrestle with.
There's a dumb thing that happens in the third Phoenix Wright game. An especially ridiculous case occurs. One of the best in the series and one of my favorite mysteries ever. But basically, someone explodes on the stand, and
like with a bomb. I haven't played an Eternia game.
Not a bomb. It's literally magic. To be quite honest, I don't want to give spoilers for a phenomenal game. But basically, Phoenix just goes and turns to the judge like, you handled this really well. I didn't expect you to just kind of take this all in stride. And the judge goes, look, dude, I've been up here for like 40 years, and what I've learned is that you kind of have to take each mystery on its own individual face and consider the facts of that individual mystery on its own merit, and your previous biases will usually only harm you moving in. And that's stuck with me super well, and that's really paid off for me. You gotta kind of treat things on their own in a lot of ways. You can't come in with your previous assumptions. Like, if a guy kicked down my door right now and he was wearing a long black coat and he was going, bleh, I'd be like, I have to consider the possibility this is a vampire.
Would you be more or less likely to seduce him if he was a vampire?
I'm married, so I would be less.
Okay.
Wait, so you're implying that you would be more likely in the inverse if he weren't?
Yeah, flip the chessboard around. If I was single, I'd be all over him.
Yes.
We'll see who bites who first. Let's go.
There you go. That's the fighting spirit I was looking for, Matt.
Yeah.
God.
But seriously, I sort of from the opposite perspective, I feel like as a pro fantasy person from the get-go, obviously, it's all about witches for me. But I have grown, especially thanks to all of my friends in this podcast, like being so insistent on like solving the mystery and trying to fill in the blanks and point out the inconsistencies has really made me want to participate in that a lot more. And I said in episode 1, and I still stand by it, that I am a mystery bozo. There are things I just straight up don't think of that are like the most obvious, like, oh, this isn't right, 101. But I think fantasy and mystery can work together in synthesis, and that my stance on mystery solving has been like, well, okay, I can't really think of tricks that people might use or ways that things might be done, but I can use sort of the emotional side, the emotional nature that defines magic of these characters, and like the limits and depths of their characters, taking information from the parts of each episode that may or may not be real, like the Halo 2 sword fights, or the shield fights, or the demon fights, or whatever, stuff like that, or being resurrected. Moments like that allow me to use emotional information to be like, this really seems very far outside of what a character is capable of. Or inversely, well, this character doesn't seem that suspicious right now, but because of some of the things that you hear them say or see them do that really make your skin crawl, it's like, no, that's information too. And they could be suspicious in that way. So one of my frustrations has been exactly what Ryukishi describes in this story, which is that, oh, they keep adding stuff on. Every episode in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, was like something new, something totally new that you couldn't have expected, and there was no way to prepare for, and it adds totally new information, and all of your episode 3 theories are bullshit as soon as episode 4 starts. And that's been frustrating for me, but I've been working around it using the sort of synthesis of these two things, and I'm really hoping that in the answer arcs we don't get thrown a whole new load of shit, and there were 15 Battler clones, and Kinzo had a secret cloning laboratory that only Rudolph knew about, and that was his plan all along, blah blah blah. That shit would be a real drag.
Don't worry, because I've already solved everything. I already solved it all.
Izzy, I'm ready
We'll
for you to
see
take
about
me
that.
home and tuck me in tight to bed.
I want to say here, something to what you were saying, Anna. I think that from what we know so far, Umineko is a series that isn't. I mean, the thing you said about synthesis, about using anti-fantasy and anti-mystery, both kind of interchangeably, as the situation fits. One, this is what Ryukishi through Renove says is the wisest choice at the very end of this little pamphlet. And also, it's a series that, if you take a purely anti-fantasy or anti-mystery stance, you'll find yourself at an impasse. Because if you take a purely anti-fantasy stance, you won't believe any of the meta shit. You won't believe any of the red truths. Like, you won't believe any time there is magic happening on screen. Like, all of that stuff is basically anathema, or not anathema, but like it's nothing. It's air. You don't even consider it. You throw it away because you're here for the mystery, and mysteries don't have magic, so you won't even consider the magic, because the magic could be anything. That could just be any kind of lie, and actually anything at all could be going on there. And if you take a purely anti-mystery stance, then you are, you're licking the witch's foot. You're fucking...
Real shit?
Yeah.
Well,
The Chad anti-mystery.
uh-huh. But you're accepting defeat by the explicit terms of the...
Yeah, you'll be accepting defeat.
Oh my god, I can't talk about
If it's not obvious,
anything.
we
Metaphors
finally
are
put out
nothing
the
to
first
these
episode
people.
between the last episode and this one, so we all kind of have our old jokes back again.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of playing the hits today. So what all of that comes to is that Umineko is this... It's one of my personal favorite kind of stories, which is it's genre about genre playing with genre. Not only is it a mystery, but it is a mystery story that is deeply concerned with what it means to be a mystery story, and like, what is this agreement between player and author or game master within Umineko? What is this agreement to seek out this truth in this form that is supposedly like the height of logic? The very cornerstone of it is itself like this fantasy that could be reneged basically at any time by the author. We even see that even literally the concept of red truth is advanced by Beatrice as a form of this olive leaf, as this way to say, oh, you won't think about it unless I tell you you can think about it, unless you have objective facts. Well, here's some objective facts for you.
It's olive branch, Jen.
What'd I say?
Olive leaf.
Olive leaf?
I mean, there are leaves on a branch. It's fine.
There are leaves on a branch. But so, like, accepting that red truth, which is something that is challenged a lot in the novel, is its own form of that agreement between author and reader, where this time the point of the mystery is to deny the existence of the author in the first place, supposedly Beatrice. And I just find that really compelling. I think that is a very interesting posture to adopt. I don't think it's particularly unique or even new, probably within the space of mystery novels. Even I, someone who is not in any way well read on mystery novels, I can point to things like the works of Paul Auster, or there's some other famous Japanese story that is by a mystery author and plays in that space between, is this even a mystery? But Umineko exists inside of it, and it is that while also being anime bullshit, and it makes me very interested in it.
Yeah.
Mystery and fantasy.
Yeah, it makes me really like mystery novels when the villain has big titties and is an anime woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my preference.
Yes. The posture of the villain being, I'm the real culprit. All of this detective shit that you think you're doing, bullshit. I'm a magic witch, and I did it by waving my magic wand around and saying "fuck you." Is great.
It's really
great.
good.
It's a great place to be in.
Throwing a tantrum is very villainous.
It is. Speaking of tantrums, let's talk about this kind of pair of short stories: the Seven Sisters Valentine's Day and Beatrice's White Day.
These were so cute, and some of the information in it hinges on my newest theory.
These were released on or around Valentine's Day and White Day in 2009, February 8th, and then March 15th.
Jen, what is White Day? Just quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So White Day, just in case anyone doesn't know, I don't actually know the origins of it, but basically in Japan, it exists as kind of this counterpoint to Valentine's Day, where on Valentine's, traditionally, on Valentine's, women give gifts to people they like or important, people who are important to them. Usually it is like a crush you have when, if you're in high school and you are doing things like tempering your own chocolate to mold it into a gift to give to someone you like. And then White Day is the counterpoint to that, where the boys are supposed to give something back to the girls that they got. I don't know where it came from. It's neat. It's, it's more capitalist bullshit, just like Valentine's Day is. But that kind of reciprocity, I think, is kind of neat. It's not something we really have here in the States for Valentine's. I guess that kind of reciprocity is assumed in Valentine's Day.
Yeah, like it's one each party member has a gift.
Can I be real? Valentine's Day is like my least favorite holiday ever.
Yeah.
I don't like chocolate, so it's a nightmare for me.
Oh no.
Why is it your least favorite, Anna?
I don't need to get into it. It's neither here nor there. I just want to say I hate Valentine's.
So the Seven Sisters Valentine's Day centers around the seven stakes, and they all go off and find their little pairing. This episode, this and White Day, are kind of this collection that we have right now. I might call them the closest to skeevy of all of these, with the ambiguously aged stakes going around and offering Valentines to fucking Rudolph and Kyrie and
the Rudolph bits are bad.
Goda does not fuck.
Goda does not fuck.
To Goda's credit, it's not remotely a romantic thing in his exchange. He giggles.
Yeah.
He's like, haha, oh, wow, you're really young. Well, thanks for the chocolates. And then he fucks off to Belgium. He gets sent on a fucking Paragon Path quest to become a god-tier chocolatier.
Paragon Path quest.
It's great. It's great. Goda has probably one of my favorite ones. My favorite being, I think it's Satan with a cannon.
Oh yeah,
It's really good, yeah.
yeah. Satan Cannon has no fucking idea what's going on. Jessica is pissed. It's
Satan's
great.
like, it's just chocolate. Just take it. I don't want to be here.
Jessica wanders into Satan and Cannon's little confrontation, holding her own Valentine behind her back, which she drops and grabs her brass knuckles out from her fucking pockets and is like, back the fuck off my boy. It's great. So hang on, let's say the pairings really quickly. It's Asmodeus. It goes from youngest to oldest. It's Asmo and Amakusa, which is terrible.
Gross.
Amakusa
It's not
dies.
good.
Amakusa dies in the White Day
Amakusa
one, to his credit,
Gives finger
finally.
guns and dies. It's awesome.
Asmo is Lust. Beelzebub, who is Gluttony, and Goda, which we already
I'm
talked
gonna
about.
say Biel has the most solid game plan for this. Like, she doesn't give a fuck about romance. She doesn't have any feelings to these people. She just wants the best fucking chocolate back possible. So she goes to the chef.
That's
I'm
not the
saying, she
spirit
gets
of the
it.
holiday.
Who gives a shit?
Yes, it is.
She's
No,
right.
I give a
she's winning.
shit.
She's winning.
She
She's
is
winning.
happy and he is happy. It is the spirit of the holiday because Goda's asexual.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Goda only cares for food. Cutting into that rump.
Man, this is a really diverse
Rump,
cast.
stop.
Yeah, of course they write the biggest character to be the one that likes food.
Nanjo?
Well, yeah. No, I think she's talking about Goda. I mean,
Well, good
Goda's
for- good
large,
for
but he's
fucking
like,
him.
Goda's like a fucking, like...
Goda's a rectangle.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of big Goda is.
He's just broad.
You ever see Cats Don't Dance? The butler in that?
Oh
That's
my
Goda.
god, yes.
Yeah, yes. Goda is Max from Cats Don't Dance.
Why do you
Let's
know
hear
that
it for
character's
everybody
name by
for-
name? Hold on.
Ding, 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 ding. The most obscure reference on Golden Truth so far. Ding, 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 ding. Mammon. Mammon is paired with Sakutaro and Angie, like as a unit. Angie has fucked off because she is getting chocolate for both Amakusa and Battler in one of the, maybe the skeeviest, like just kind of, haha, BroCon, am I right? Lol, kind of things.
Fuck
it's like
you.
very...
Her girlfriend is right there. Go
That's what
to
I'm
fucking
saying.
hell.
Why would
I mean,
you...
she does. It's like Sakutaro is like proxy Angie. He's like, we're gonna give it to Angie later, right? And she's like,
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, when Renove was like, it's fine if you give your chocolates to a girl, I was really hoping that Emma would just give it to Angie, but
They
nope.
would just
That's
do
what
it for
I'm
us. But
saying.
this was what 2008.
I mean, it sucks so bad because we know, because of that point I brought up, I think last episode, that Ryukishi absolutely motherfucking knows that Angie Mammon is fucking endgame god tier, the ship to end all ships, motherfucker. And he
It
went,
is. We all know.
God damn. So that happens. Belphegor is paired up with Rudolph, which sucks, but they, it's because they have their fight in episode 3. Leviathan, just to go out of order real quick, Leviathan is paired up with Kyrie for the same reason.
Yeah, this furthers my
Which
opinion
rules, actually.
that Kyrie should
Just the
divorce
pettiest
Rudolph.
little group in the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both very evil. It's great. Lucifer, and of course Lucifer as Pride, can't figure anything out, and then Battler just barges in, fucking head empty, tits out, like, hey guys, what's going on in here? And so Lucifer fucking tries to give, her chocolate, which was made by Renove, to Battler, and then Beatrice shows up and gives the same chocolate, which was made by Renove, but she says it was made by herself, to Battler, and Battler's like, no, Lucifer made this chocolate. It's a fucking, like, comedy of errors. It's a total farce. What goes on from there.
Battler says in red he'll never, ever, ever give Beatrice a gift.
On White Day.
Ever again. Ever.
Battler, you fuck. Lighten up a little.
So, skip forward a month and a day.
Just 1 month.
Right, and everybody gets their white day. Amakusa dies. Fucking,
Thank God.
does Goda return from his vision quest? I kind of skimmed over
Let me
this
take
part.
a hot second before you say Amakusa dies to explain why he fucking dies.
Yeah, please. I was kind of tuned out for this one. Please walk me through it.
So, the episode starts up and Beatrice walks over to Bat like, hey, I brought you chocolate on White Day, or I brought you chocolate on Valentine's Day. What do you got for me on White Day? He goes, what? No. I didn't accept it, you took it, and then you cried and ate it while you drank tea.
Yeah.
And she's like, ha ha ha, cool. So what'd you get me? He's like, fucking nothing. What? So she kind of stomps out of the room and then summons the Shyster sisters.
Oh, right.
Shyster.
Yeah,
I did
the
not like that you
Chester.
said that.
It is not the Shyster sisters, I'm afraid. It is the Chester.
She summons Chester Cheetah.
Yeah.
And orders the bunnies to fire laser beams that do a bunch of strange things.
That's right.
The first thing they do, which is excellent, is they just fucking blow Amakusa away, who says, cool, and dies.
Finally
Classic
justice.
Amakusa.
It's great. It's excellent. And then next up, I think, was Beelzebub and Goda. And Beelzebub is about to bite into this chocolate that Goda trained for in his amazing quest in Belgium. Then it fucking explodes in her mouth. And it doesn't hurt her, but it's like, no, my chocolate. And Goda just looks at her and he goes, must have cooked it wrong. I have to go back to Belgium and learn more. And he just fucking leaves. She's like, no, just give me your chocolate. What? No.
I'm gonna go back on my vision quest real quick.
I love that he thinks he put something in that made it blow up. I want to know
Tiny
what goes
bombs.
on in that man's brain.
Oh, right. So it's the pancakes that Angie made for her tea party with Mammon and Sakutaro. Special fucking love pancakes that Angie makes for her girlfriend and their joint
for
son.
her girlfriend.
And she has enough depression that she's like, oh, I must have just cooked them really badly.
There's a reason I got such low scores in home ec. I'm just reading these off the page now. Rudolph dies and fucking has like a gunman's fucking like, damn, it looks like they mistook you for my woman. At least I was able to protect you.
Even though it was aiming for him.
Oh my god, this quote. Of course, they were actually aiming at Rudolph. Trying to dodge while pretending to protect is one of Rudolph's talents.
I love that bit of characterization where he's really good at making it look like he gives a shit.
My favorite scumbag in the series, yeah.
Kyrie gets got.
Kyrie gets got, but she doesn't die, because she survives long enough to get to Rudolph and beat the shit out of him while he dies.
Well, juicily, Leviathan actually protects her. Chef's kiss.
Right.
And then Kyrie counts her jealousy counter and goes to kill Rudolph a second time.
Her power level powers up.
Which I've never seen her do except around Leviathan, so she's clearly using it as a way to flirt.
Yeah, I know. It's disaster lesbians, you know?
Yeah.
So she does all this. Battler fucking says, I'll never get you anything on White Day ever. And Beatrice fucking goes crying to Virgilia and Renove. And Virgilia's like, well, Beatrice, I know a special magic spell. We'll turn back time. I'll send you to the kitchen and it will be Valentine's Day. But
the day before Valentine's Day.
The day before Valentine's Day, you're right. But I don't have the magic to support this myself. So you need to believe. As long as you believe in it, the magic will hold true, but you're going to be bearing the load of this. And she fucking sends it away. And then Virgilia and Renove look at each other and it's like, so we got all the calendars, right? We told everybody, right?
On the one hand, this whole part is so funny, but it's so juicy too for plot
juicy.
Things and Beatrice things.
It's the crux of one of my theories.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay.
It is an awesome, awesome scene, and one of my favorites in all of Umineko for some fucking reason.
It's really good. That's why.
It's really good. I think it lays out like the properties of magic and like, you know, the truth of magic even more plainly than anything in episode 4 does. Because it's so condensed and heightened, and it's the main fucking characters and all of that stuff. And especially because of this scene where Virgilia and Renove fucking look at each other and said, we told all the stakes to, like, be cool about this, right? And then Gop, of course, just fucking waltzes in out of the fridge and is like, yo, what the fuck up, Beatrice? What are you doing with all this chocolate? It's White Day, right? And then she just immediately fucks off again.
Beatrice starts crying.
She stands there for a while and looks bad.
Yeah, Beatrice looks her dead in the eye, Gat looks back at her and goes, okay.
Well,
and then just goes right back in the fridge.
Oh my god. And of course, Beatrice like fucking has a total breakdown just in time for Battler to waltz in, head empty, tits out, and say, wow, you sure are making something delicious for Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow. Smells good.
And Beatrice is just standing there like,
are you like doing something physical?
yeah,
Oh no, Matt, come back.
Matt?
yes.
Matt, come back. What'd you say?
Beatrice is just standing there like, and then Matt explodes in real life.
I'm really excited for you to hear whatever fucking noise I just made for that entire bit. Discord is what we're recording over. Well, we're not recording, but we're talking to each other over. And Discord decided, you know what? Fuck that noise. No one else gets to hear that. That's terrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it consistently does that
just
to me whenever I
I'm a
laugh.
little surprised.
So I can't wait.
So Beatrice is just kind of standing there, just mouth open, flapping like a fish for a second, and then just goes, Valentine's Day, am I right?
But then they cheer up, and Battler steps in, and he feels a little more natural because she's being silly, and he teases her, and then he's like, okay, what are you doing? And she's like, yeah, could you help me out? And by them like working together, the magic of the scene is sort of restored in Beatrice's heart. And even though the anti-magic toxin of that spell has already set in and sort of nullified it, she's willing to believe. And she's willing to get into the spirit anyway, because the thing she was sad about to begin with was this exchange with Battler and this camaraderie and this feeling of loneliness, So she's able to bring it back.
He supplies this blue truth. White Day is on the same day as Valentine's Day, just a month later. So tomorrow, when the man accepts your chocolate, he'll reciprocate a month from the day it's given, which is obviously like that kind of like twisted Umineko logic, but it is also like Valentine's Day can be when the fuck ever. White Day can be when the fuck ever. You can give chocolate to people whenever you want, and you can say it's Valentine's Day and White Day. And that truth, that magic becomes the underpinning that allows Beatrice to regain herself. And like they both fuck up the chocolate together. It's great. It's just a beautiful little scene that like I feel like really plainly just kind of sets out Umineko's view on magic.
It's an amazing scene that cracks the case wide open.
Okay.
Wow.
I was gonna say that I think that it is just like much of Umineko very good at telling you how to read itself, and that like here is an example of how to work around a red truth, in which, the thing Battler said still holds true, and this is how that resolves, right?
Oh, you're totally right. It's a little mini guide.
It's a little hint, yeah.
Disguised as a cutie little story.
Little game fact.
Wow.
Yeah, Umineko, king of tutorialization of this literary novel.
It's I feel like a lot of people, if they're just kind of reading through it eyes closed, like just in a very receptive mode, all of the magic battle scenes and all the mystery fights, a lot of it can just kind of wash right over you. But Umineko is constantly begging you to accept this much more active posture in reading it. Basically to the point where it's like on his fucking knees clawing at your fucking chest. And when people do it, I think that Umineko really reveals itself.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of tutorials and things, I know our very own Maddler has been sitting on for a little while now. Sort of.
Whoa! Are we skipping the witch's Tanabata?
Did you want to talk about something in the Tanabata?
It's too
Nobody
sad.
had anything.
It made me upset, and I don't want to think about it.
The only thing about the Tanabata that's relevant is that Burncastle sucks now.
Yeah, there's
Burncastle has sucked for a few episodes.
Let me speedrun the witch's Tanabata. It's a whole thing about you put a wish on a piece of bamboo and hang it up and hope it comes true.
It's a Japanese holiday, yeah.
All the witches talk about their different ways to do it. It starts with Maria doing one that Mama will be nice, of course, blah, blah, blah. The moral of the frickin' story is the reason Angie hated Eva and turned Eva into the evil mom. Eva was actually a sweet mom at first who had asked her, I hope that you can let me be your mom one day because neither of us has anything. Eva said that to her IRL, tried to reach out an olive leaf, and fucking Burncastle said, I'll bring your family back. I'll grant your fucking wish one day, maybe, probably, miracles, shrug, if you promise to never smile again and tell Eva that she'll never be your mother and you'll always hate her.
Okay,
And Angie, traumatized child, is like, okay, well, sure, what the fuck ever. And
I
does
have
that, and
to
we
step
hate
to
her.
bat as the Burncastle defender here. I'm so sorry that I have to do this, but reading this in the context of like Memoirs of a Lambda Delta, where like Lambda talks about how she can only grant wishes that people already have the willpower to grant themselves. Like, I think putting that lens on this, I have to do it or else I'll hate Burncastle too much. I have to believe that like Angie uses this as a rationalization for like her own like trauma response to her entire fucking family dying and then Eva becoming her new custodian, right? That like if she is mean to Eva enough, then her family will come back. And then it's not necessarily Burncastle literally told her that. It's just the way that she coped with that. I have to say this to myself. I can't deal with hating Burncastle.
We can all weave whatever magics we want to. You say that.
Yeah,
all right, Caelum.
You weave your bullshit. It's cool.
You're actually hitting on why I wanted to bring up the Witch's Tanabata a little bit, which is that this whole scene is basically pointing out what all of their magics really are and how they work, where Beatrice's is more about reinterpretation and looking at things from a different perspective, and that's how that works. And it's kind of showing you how all of their magics work in a way where you can kind of get a feeling for how they work and what the problems are with them. And I sent Kebs this enormous, like, hour-long not back and forth, because I just kind of sent Kebs messages while she sent Beatrice laughing pictures.
Yep, that's what I do.
And it's learning the words that really define each of the witches' abilities and how they form this triangle, not just in terms of witches' powers, but in terms of real life as well, about how things go. Like, what Lambda Delta is weak to is basically Murphy's Law, that something you don't expect or some catastrophic amount of things that you saw as tiny variables that wouldn't matter could always go wrong. No matter how much you planned, no matter how much you did, something could always slip under the radar and blow up whatever you had done. No matter how thoroughly you plan, there's always room for failure. And that is the downside to certain magic.
Right.
And
infinitely close to zero is zero, but also it is not zero. And Bernkastel, exists in between. She puts her wedge in that space, totally.
And her wedge is that of the determination to continue searching for that number, no matter how small it is. And that works well against her approach, but it falls flat against the idea of Beatrice, whose idea is mostly based on, like, creativity and thinking things through and inventing new rules and just generally building something new. Instead of fortifying defenses, you're building something new. And that's something that a miracle is weak to. If you're trying to find the one weakness, all you're going to find are little weaknesses all over, and a lot of them don't lead anywhere, and it's just going to waste your time. And there's no guarantee you'll ever even find the ending, because that side of the castle that you're in might not even have a door that leads out of it. You don't know the rules, because the rules are always changing, and that's what makes Beatrice work. But that is weak to someone who has the strength of will to not engage with that whatsoever. And the reason I'm going through this whole cycle in this direction is to look at Battler at the end of episode 4. The reason why he has been trapped in Beatrice's thing is because he's been engaging with it. He's been learning with it and working with it. And Bernkastel realizes that her method of battle cannot win this. And that's what Battler is engaging from, the anti-fantasy method. Or even just pure mystery method is ineffective against Beatrice. So she needed to find a way to instill Battler with that certain will that allows Lambda Delta's effect, basically, to checkmate Beatrice. So that's why she had to go and do all of this little nudging of pieces in order to get Angie into the place that she is. Like, knowing how Higurashi worked and how it came to the point where, like, in Higurashi, Rika had to play in a certain field at a certain time to convince a family to move into town, or else it was a dead end.
Yep.
She has to manipulate all the events in order to make the miracle happen, because it's not random luck that makes it happen. It is pushing and poking at the variables until finally, like a speedrunner trying to find the best way to break through a wall.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, she finds a way to do this. So she basically does all of this to set up Battler so he has the will so that he can crush straight through Beatrice's stuff, because he no longer wants to play the game. He no longer wants to engage with Beatrice. He's no longer interested in her, at least not to the extent that he was before. He needs to leave to get to his sister. He has that clarity of purpose that makes him want to actually burst through everything. And that's why I find this to be such a vital piece. Like, yeah, it's depressing as hell, but it's really good for context, at least in my reading.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
It means I'm on the wrong track then. Oh,
well,
man.
Okay. Well, I think that marks a good transition. There's one more thing I want to talk about here, which is Bernkastel's letter. But I want to kind of package that, and we will talk about what Bernkastel's letter is talking about when we're talking about theories and mysteries, because I want to make a little space for our little interlude segment we'll get to right here. That sound good for everybody?
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Wahoo.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Finally, somehow.
Wow. So originally I had wanted to call the previous segment the Tea Party and this next segment the Hidden Tea Party, but I realized we actually have 3 segments and I don't know what to call this mid segment. This is the fucking Umineko beer can head crushing section.
The tailgate?
What do they call it in Higurashi?
There was only one tea party in Higurashi, wasn't there? Or like cast after or whatever the fuck?
There were a whole bunch of those. And they changed. I'm trying to do a podcast here.
I'm sorry.
I'm not stopping you.
motherfucker.
I think we should call this segment, personally, I think we should call this segment the Music Box, because it's about the Music Box. Yeah.
So 2 people have been like fucking saving up their power. They've been Goku charging for the past 4 episodes, and now it's time to unleash it. We have Matt and Anna, each with their own special little moments. We'll toss to Anna first. Anna, what do you want to say about Umineko?
I catch the mic in my mouth and swallow it whole. I want to say...
I need that.
Thank you. Bows. I want to say that Umineko is a visual novel. It does lots of interesting things with the form, timing of text, perspective of text, excellent writing, some sprites and stuff, but something I really can't share with you that you will have to experience yourself as a listener is the music. And let me just say, you have to experience the music, because it is the soundtrack for the question arcs of Umineko is a fucking masterpiece. Music in indie games is like sort of a thing. It's like make or break for a lot of them, you know, the Undertale effect, you know, the art is like cute or whatever, but the soundtrack and the themes and the motifs and everything is really amazing. The same holds true here for Umineko, but times 4 and times 1,000,000. What I want to say about the soundtrack is that I love what it does with motif. I love what it does with fucking genre. I love what it does with fucking composition, and it slaps. Those are my 4 parts of my thesis, and I would like everyone else's input on that. You don't have to, but this isn't just my show. This is just a time to gush about the music.
It's very good.
I do remember 11 years ago when I first got into Umineko, and then I dropped off at exactly where we're at right now. It was like a thing in my friend group that we were talking about how Umineko just invented a new genre of music, pretty much, with whatever the fuck genre Golden Slaughter is. I guess that's like electro swing, but better. Oh
my god, electro swing fucking wishes it had. Yeah. They have been searching for 10 years in the electro swing mines for one grain of music as valuable as the like 4 pieces of fucking Baroque hard style that fucking exist in Umineko. So Umineko does this amazing thing with genre, to get at that first, because Caelum just mentioned that, and it has every genre in here. We've got a few sort of categories, I like to call them. There's like Phoenix Wright-esque themes, where you get something like an objection theme, or like a loop of music that plays when someone's investigating. You've got schmaltzy stuff, you know, beautiful, sweeping violin quartets.
This would be the meat and fuck genre, correct?
You know, you've got Hope, the meat and fuck song, which is in a genre on its own.
I have to fucking interject here for a second, which is, I did not know that when Annabelle was describing the meat and fuck music, I thought she was referring to the, like, fucking grand swelling orchestra that comes up around fucking George and Shannon like a couple minutes later when he actually proposes. Not Hope, the fucking cornerstone piece of music for Umi fucking Neko. I can't believe you would call Hope meat and fuck music. You goddamn motherfucker.
Hope, okay, on the one hand, Hope does slap. I'll give it to you. Hope has grown on me, you know.
It's
but
it is a meat. Hope is Umineko.
I'll say it in red, Jen. I'll make you a meat and fuck edit of Hope by the end of this recording of our podcast.
Terrible.
So that you can know what I'm talking about. There's like character themes, so like songs and things that come up with different characters. There's stuff for tense moments and there's stuff for sad moments. So there's these different categories that the music comes into. Let me back up. I'm getting a little excited. There's 110 pieces of music between these 4 games. There's like 40-ish in the episode 1, and then about 20 more are added per episode. It's between like 20 and 25. and it's ridiculous how much content there is. It's ridiculous how good it is. Songs range from anywhere for like 1 minute 40, just a quick little thing, to like loop under a passing nice moment before a terrible moment, to like 8-minute long non-looping fucking multi-genre compositions. I want to say that there are, like, including the sick-ass intro song that plays before all of these, it's the same song before all of them, and including Surupetan, the sexy Toho song that is featured in some of the versions. There's like 6 songs with vocals in them, like real-ass, human-ass vocals. Some of them are really long. Some of the vocals are literally unintelligible in any language. Looking at you, Happy Maria.
So you're talking probably, Happy Maria.
Which is a great song, which I recommend you listen to.
It's a great song. To my knowledge, it does not contain... There are no official lyrics anywhere for Happy Maria.
Yeah, it doesn't need lyrics, it just needs a vibe.
Yeah, the vibe is clear as crystal, definitely. Anyway, I could go on and on. There's like how many different instruments? There's like 20 different instruments that are like primarily featured in these. You got harpsichord, toy piano, flute, full orchestra, just choral. You got psytrance. You got MIDI, shittiest possible MIDI jazz with scat singing. You got an organ, an electric organ. You got electric guitar. You've got just percussion. You've got fucking drone. You've got the accordion. I mean, it's got... The things happening here are ridiculous, and I have assembled a list of, since there's like 110, I thought it would be reasonable to cut it down to my 10 favorite songs in the question arcs.
You know, the fact that I heard a fucking piece of paper move really amplifies this.
Sorry,
the
Jen.
Fucking note cards are coming out.
Sorry, Jen.
Just has written on it in the biggest font possible, Mzaki.
Mzaki.
What, you don't like Mzaki?
It's not. It is, you know what? That song is hilarious. It blew my wig clean off. Special shout out to, what is it? Small Clock or something? What's it called?
Monochrome Clock.
Monochrome Clock gets an honorable mention in my top 10 for being the shittiest, not the worst, but the shittiest song on the soundtrack. It was so dissonant. Its MIDI is out of tune amazingly. It's the tone. There's literally a moment in the story where it is used. The previous chapter, this is a song that comes up in the episode 4 with Amakusa and Angie and all that. The previous chapter is like when all of the family dies on the game board, and then it smash cuts to Mzaki Monochrome Clock blasting, and in character Angie is like, could you turn that off? Now is maybe not the fucking time. So credit to that song for the sheer narrative power that it holds by sucking. So I have my 10 favorite songs, but does anybody else have any favorite songs? I don't expect any of you to know them by name, but just like things that happen during moments I might know.
World End Dominator is my favorite songs to kill people to, but also Umineko no Nakakora ni, the theme song for the visual novel, is one of my favorite songs by my favorite vocalist, Akiko Shikata. If she gets involved with a project, I will actually... It's the one that plays during the opening, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, if she gets involved with a project, I will actually get into that project. That's how I got into Artunelico, and that's also one of the main reasons why I first read Umineko. So
thanks to her.
Yeah, she fucking rules. If anyone listening to this knows other vocalists that sounds like her, especially when she starts yodeling, please send us an email because I want to hear more.
The yodeling hasn't come up in Umineko, has it?
What? Yodeling? Or
the yodeling? That hasn't shown up in the Umineko song.
No, it is. It's a little bit. She's got this like warbling quality to her vocals.
Okay.
When she hits that high note,
I was picturing real, tremolo. Actual yodeling.
She doesn't literally yodel. I'm having a little joke.
Strap on my lederhosen and get back at it for Caelum.
My favorites are the one in, I think, episode 2 when they create the premise of like how these games are going to go down, and Battler's like, all right, I'm going to kick your ass, and points, and then music starts playing.
Yes.
That one's amazing. Another one that I really liked, that was kind of, which at first I thought was kind of weird. I don't know what it is, but it usually plays in like weird, like maybe melancholic or sad moments, and it's got really strange like reversed vocals in it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The sort of techno one with it starts with the reversed vocal, and it's like, from the standpoint that I could see.
Yeah.
So the cool epic, the like upbeat battler song where he points his finger and says objection, and the objection music plays.
Yeah, it's probably
that's
Dread of the Grave
you're
thinking of. And there's a few different versions of that. There's like a fucking like I'm going to be bad at music now. There's like an octave up version that gets used when things get really tense. There's also one that removes the melody. It's just the rhythm track, and that's what ends episode 3.
Yeah, that's what plays when Angie shows up, which is how you know that she is Battler's sister before you know.
Or you could just look at her for about 2 seconds, but yeah.
I'm sure that they will be on your list. Well, maybe not every single one of them, but every episode kind of has at least one like fucking show-stopping song by the artist ZTS, who did Golden Slaughterer, World End Dominator, Mirage Coordinator, and
songs that kill
Dream
people too.
and Discharger. Yeah, literally, which is kind of the inventing a new genre thing that I think everyone's been referring to. They also did my personal favorite song on the soundtrack, at least so far, maybe of all time, which is Dead Angle, which is the song that closes out the first episode when they're all facing down Beatrice in the Grand Hall and the fucking clock is chiming. And it recurs a few other times throughout the series. It's just the perfect like bad ending song.
Yes,
so good.
Yes, it's amazing.
I like the
good.
music when Ava Beatrice is coronated a whole bunch.
Mhm.
And that song gets remixed a whole bunch
Yes,
as well.
it
Like
does.
Maria's theme gets
I
that.
believe that's called Birth of a New Witch.
It's called Happiness of Marionette.
Okay, I was thinking of...
Happiness of Marionette, which is
Happiness of Marionette.
yeah, exactly. Do. Yes, that shows up in many themes. That's one of the songs that I had written down, all the connections that it has.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a theme of like not. It kind of starts as a theme of Ava Beatrice, but I think it kind of evolves into the theme of like
New witches.
yeah, like being crowned as a witch or like reaching your place, ascending to witchdom or something to that effect. There's a very good at the end of episode 3. There's a very good song it's basically Happiness of Marionette versus Hope, and the kind of a dueling melodies kind of thing.
Mhm.
And
That song is called
plays...
Endless Nine.
Is that one Endless Nine?
Yes,
Endless Nine is
I'm
slightly
pretty sure.
different.
Let
Okay.
me double
Well, that song rules.
Yeah, that's Endless
it's
Nine,
great.
which is excellent. Yes, it's a dueling of the themes that are set up, the musical themes that are set up of like humanity versus witchdom, and it uses a few themes that are set up throughout in different places.
So Anna, what are your these 10? Are these ranked or are
They
these
are
just
they
10
are not
ones you
ranked.
like?
I picked 10. I was trying to do like 2 from about 2 to 3 from each episode, obviously, a spread, and I wanted to get a stylistic spread that sort of gives everyone a good feeling of the genre range of all of these. So first on the list we have World End Dominator. You know it, you love it.
Obviously.
Love that one.
There's like 4, like Jen said, show-stopping songs, sort of techno bangers that also have some like Baroque-ass like organ elements or harpsichord elements and weird instrumentation, but they are nonetheless totally pounding techno. And that one's my favorite, not least because it draws on the theme from the song World End, which is one of my other... It's not actually on my list. I'll put it on the list as an honorable mention, as the song that always makes me cry instantly upon hearing it. It's on a toy piano. It's just like plunked out on this like clicky toy piano. It's the theme of like lost dreams, of like love, but sort of love after it's like failed or it's already dead. Like what could have been. It's this beautiful, really simple, literally one note, one line melody, and it gets looped into this song. It's used for multiple people. It's used at one point, multiple points for like Maria's hopes and dreams sort of being shattered. And it's roped into World End Dominator, which is the techno song for when Rosa is kicking ass with her fucking gun. Caelum was just talking about World End Dominator, and that one, It kicks ass, and then you hear a bit of the sad-ass cry theme in there, and it's oh my god, the composition in this, the range. Dead Angle is also on there. Jen already mentioned that as
Certified banger.
before. It's in episode 1 before we've even learned about magic or anything, so there's no elements of magic in the music or any of those themes. It's just like a sort of depressing, kind of techno, kind of chill, like sadness theme. It's just really good. Steady pace out of episode 1 is not a banger. It's not anything to scream about, but I just want to like give it credit because it's this super complex string quartet or just full orchestrated composition with really delicate playing, delicate composition, and overlying melodies and counter melodies. It's like again, the range. Happiness of Marionette was mentioned by Matt. Yes, that song is fucking unbelievable. That one is like always on my head in a loop. It really is the theme of magic and sort of magic let loose in its own right, which can be a terrifying thing. Rhythm Changer and Haruka brackets Distant are two sort of like middle bangers that both have really different styles from all the other songs. They're pretty cool. Soul of Soul is another sort of compositional, really emotional, evocative one. And last but not least is Sakutaro's Adventure.
Of course,
which
Sakutaro's
I care
Adventure
so much
so
about because I
good.
love Sakutaro so much as a character. Funny stuffed lion who looks adorable, who turns into friendly friend who makes magic real. But Sakutaro's Adventure is huge because it's both the real world and the magic, and it's just all of that, and it's wrapped up in Maria, and the song in itself, just heard by itself, is just this bubbly little kids cartoon show intro thing. And it's good. So those are the songs that I think you should listen to. There were a couple others that were mentioned. There's a playlist on YouTube called Umineko Chronological OST that if you are listening along and like to do the sort of thing where you listen to music while you're browsing and shit and you don't plan on reading this series, definitely listen through that. There's a lot of awesome stuff to hear and learn about.
Absolutely.
And you can find connections yourself or just fucking enjoy the songs. There's lots of shit I didn't even mention that's amazing that's going on in here.
One more song I really like.
Yeah.
System Zero is notable because in the Steam release of
Yes.
Umineko, they actually had to remove a sample from it because it has Data from Star Trek Nemesis talking in the beginning.
Yes.
But even
fucking what?
it's really
It's
good.
great.
But even without that sample, it's still honestly a kind of slept on song. I really really like it.
Wait, which song was it again?
System Zero.
System Zero. Thank you, because the moment you started talking about Data, my brain emptied.
Yeah, it is a sample that I completely understand why I forget which musician contributed this one, but I understand why they put it in there. But it is still extremely funny that there is a sample of just Data from Star Trek talking in a Umineko song, or there was before they removed
It's great. Yeah, definitely seek out the original version of that. I'll link that playlist in the show notes. It has been my constant companion, especially for me with a bunch of friends who are reading through Umineko the first time. I can hand them this and say, now only go up to this song and then you are blind, you do not see anything past here, but like listen, here's like the section that's clear for you. So it's very useful in that way.
Yeah, for any listeners at home, up to 113 is the question arcs, and you can kind of tell because scrolling through the playlist, all of the fucking thumbnails are the same picture of Beatrice's portrait that we know and love, and that you may not know and love, so you'll fucking know and love. You'll know what we're looking at. And as soon as you see something that's not Beatrice's portrait down there, that's the next shit that I have not seen. I haven't even looked at it. I wouldn't know. Thank you for listening to my screed about music. I think it's really beautiful and really impressive what they are doing. And for being especially an indie game, I just am blown away by the range, and I cannot explain in words the emotional weight that all of those carry in this fucking book and these read-throughs, but it is immaculately used.
Something that I usually just speculate on whenever I go through any media of any kind is like wondering about circumstances beyond its creation. And especially in this case, I would love to be a fly on the wall of the people who did the music for Umineko. Just like there's obviously
about that today,
so much communication and cooperation, right? Because it's not like someone just drops their MP3s and like mails them to Ryukishi and calls it a day. Like there's different musicians are picking up motifs from each other. Like they're obviously iterating on each other. And I would just love to read any kind of documentation about that. I would love to know more about what went into that.
Oh my god, one more song. which is what is it? It's Organ Short number 600 million in C minor is Beatrice's theme, if you want to know the loud explosive theme that goes along with Beatrice. And there's two other versions of it which are fun and similarly named in the playlist, but you just gotta know. That's the theme of Beatrice's introduction, exploding organ.
It's very good.
It's very good.
Matt, you also have a diatribe, a tale to spin.
I am going to embarrass myself greatly here talking about things that I don't understand, but things that I like to pretend that I understand.
What do you think you've been doing this entire time? Like nothing has changed.
Shut up! So I'm going to talk a little bit about my feelings and how that relates to the game design of Umineko. I didn't have time to say this last time, but after I read episode 4, I did not want to keep reading more Umineko. I felt completely burnt out on it. Would I keep going if we weren't part of this podcast? Probably, but it's mostly out of a curiosity to see where the story goes from here, not because of any real desire to continue on with the way the story has been continuing. And I believe that that's absolutely intended in the design of the game. And to really get into this, I want to talk about what I like to call the 3 dueling motivations in video games, because this is a very interesting problem that I think Umineko deeply understands, where, say you want to play Grand Theft Auto 5. The story says you're some down-on-their-luck schmuck who has to do a few odds ends and knobs, but you're still a good guy, you just don't want to do this sort of thing. But the gameplay doesn't lend itself to that thinking of it. In the gameplay, you are a completely murderous person who can get every weapon in the world, kill everything, get 6 wanted level, fly off in a jetpack, and just be basically this ridiculous caricature of a serial killer. But the story disagrees with that, and it's this huge conflict in the way the game works that I have never been able to resolve anytime I tried playing a Grand Theft Auto game. Which is why Saints Row was able to slide right into that gap and go, no, your character is kind of a weird explosion person who's all about being over the top and ridiculous. And the game feels so much more cohesive because of that. There's also a third motivation that goes into games. There's the story motivation, there's the design motivation, but then there's the player motivation. This is the one that the developer can hope that they understand, but they can really, really miss. In Grand Theft Auto, there's a lot of people who don't engage with any of the combat whatsoever. They do RP servers because what they want to do is just pretend that they're living a different life. And that's totally valid. That's a totally fine way to play the game and everything. The game's not designed with that in mind, and they have to mod the hell out of it to get it to be what they want it to be. But it's a very fascinating thing that they do. A similar thing happens in Breath of the Wild, where you have the story saying you gotta get to Zelda, you gotta get to her, you gotta take care of her. But then it slows itself down because the game's about exploring. The design of the game is explore, investigate, check out that corner over there. There's probably something hidden there. That rock looks a bit out of place, doesn't it? But the player could also put on their own challenges and strange things on top of that, like, hey, I want to do a vegetarian run of Zelda. And I know this is a very roundabout way of getting to the point, but I really do want to elaborate that there are these 3 points. There's the story of the game, the design of the game, and the player of the game. And in Umineko, you have those same 3 elements as well, where the story is you are trying to solve the mystery of what happened on Rokonjima and find the sinister murderer. The design of the game is not about that. Once you get past episode 1, it's not about that. It's about how you engage with media and how you interpret things that you see, and on a grander scale, what it means for something to be reality. Christmas Day is just a day. Santa Claus is an agreed upon bit of magic that the world has. Sorry, spoilers for Booher. It's just a strange thing where it's really asking you to engage with the world and look at the things that you think are reality, that are like written in stone, and look at it and know it's not. It's all agreed upon conventions. It's magic that we agree on. Is there an ounce of love that you could hold in your hand in this world? No. But it's something we agree exists because it's a necessary thing, and it's something that makes people feel better. It is magic in its own sense. So we reach the end of episode 4, and Battler peels off of your motivation. No matter how much you like Angie, you don't care about going back home to a 6-year-old as the player of a game. And that might be a little heartless if it were real life, and to an extent the game is asking us to consider this as a real story. It's still not why I at least am engaging with the game. Battler wants to solve the mystery, but not for the same reasons I do, and it creates this dissonance in the way that the game feels to me. Like, I don't want to crush Beatrice and get out of the game. I want to know why this happened. And that's completely gone from the vernacular of Battler. Not caring about the why is exactly why he's going to be able to get through this story. And that's such a problem for me. And it created this massive, massive wall that I just really had to try to work to get past. And I am 100% sure that it's intended to just have this rejection of everything the game has said be brought up by Battler, your stand-in, your surrogate, and my kin, apparently, and just have it kick you in the face and say no. Right now, I'm aligned with the design of the game, but the story of the game has completely turned against me. And it's something that games never do. They try to make those lines never touch or cross or really brush up against each other. And if they do, it sticks out like a sore thumb. like any open world game where someone drives the car into a telephone pole and gets out and gets in a fist fight with the person standing closest nearby. It's such a complex and bizarre thing in video games. And seeing it be done in a game where your interaction is literally limited to pressing the spacebar is fascinating. And it's so well done, and I have nothing but praise and applause for it. And I know this is a very messy thing, and I have a lot of trouble writing down my thoughts and actually saying them back out loud. But I hope you can at least understand the depth of my feeling about this.
I think that your reading of kind of like the three tenets of video games, the three modes of engagement, is further complicated by Umineko by the fact that the game, I've brought this up before, but the game exists inside of the story as well. And not just like for us, the player, the game has its story and the game has its design, but inside of the game, inside of this media object, there is a player, there is a game, which has its design, and there is like the story that is being woven. And the watching not just how we navigate it from like this most outer meta layer, but how meta battler himself navigates those tensions and how he, as a player of the in-universe game of Umineko, in Beatrice's game, I'd be interested to see how you read that game inside of Umineko using this lens, because it feels like there's a lot that could be there to me.
Oh.
Yeah, just throw a little bit more on your plate. I mean, I might push back against some of your reading here, but I think broadly I agree with your sentiment, or I understand where you're coming from, where with your reaction as a player where you are right now, feeling like very alienated, coming from a more sympathetic place than Battler is, certainly during his fight with Beatrice. And trying to think back to my own time when this happened, I was in that receptive mode that I was talking about earlier. Through my time reading Umineko the first time, like, it was kind of fun to pick at and prod at, but ultimately I wasn't actually in that very active, that very engaged mode that I was talking about. I was sort of in between there, so that when I get to the end of episode 4, I'm kind of just like, man, that's pretty fucked up. I wonder what could happen next. And it's a much more passive posture than I think the posture that Umineko is certainly pushing you to adopt, and which you yourself have adopted, in your own way, finding your own version of that active stance.
Video games.
Do you think that Battler has no sympathy for Beatrice?
No, I don't think he has no sympathy. I just think he's pushing past it.
I think, like, to put ourselves in Battler's shoes here, it is probably very difficult for him to feel sympathy with Beatrice, because, like, as he himself has said, that, like, I mean, for most part, like, if he's to believe in any magic, it's in part that Beatrice does this as a ritual because she needs to perpetuate herself. But, in episode 3, like, he talks about how he could maybe understand that, but she takes so much delight and joy in killing, everyone he fucking loves, his entire family, right? Like, I can understand, like a lot of this half of Umineko is trying to understand the fullness of one being, right? And it's understandably very difficult for someone who is very, very obvious, like, stakes in the situation as Battler does.
Right. I think I'm pretty sure I brought this up in episode 4cast, but in Battler's final challenge to Beatrice, when she kind of like pulls herself up and says, "That's right, Kinzo has been dead the whole time." I mean, it is cruel. It certainly has an amount of cruelty to it, but I think there's also that amount of respect of the opponent. Of he says before she just asks him, as she fucking dies in his arms, he asks, like, "Who are you? Who is Beatrice? What are you trying to get at here?" So that final challenge, I think he definitely enters that battle like full of rage and full of that certain willpower to tear it all apart, like in a very aggressive way. But I think as the battle goes, we see Battler sees Beatrice's mask starting to break, I think, by the time she's fucking crying tears of blood.
Yeah, I agree. Red truth was mixed in.
I mean, the final image of the entire novel is Battler literally embracing Beatrice as she falls towards him and asks, "Who am I?" In which we haven't really seen the fallout of that or how that develops, but I think at the very end, and I'm interested how this affects your position as a player. Like, do you see it affecting your position as a player, Matt? Like this reading that Battler at the very end is like accepting Beatrice, accepting her challenge. Like, how do you read Battler continuing to play this game?
My question to you, Matt, was just, where do you stand now? With us having talked through it and thinking more about it, do you still feel like you don't want to play? You're just sort of doing it to know, but like you're not enjoying the game, TM, anymore? Or what?
No, that's part of the reason I didn't bring it up last time, is because talking through all of this and reflecting on it with Jen and everything. Because what I do after I finish episodes is usually I send Jen me going through things for like my knee-jerk reactions, and she sends back Beatrice. And
I do. I love it. I truly do. It is fine wine. It is so great to see you experiencing this.
And you can ask her. I was completely despondent.
Yep.
Like even more so than I think episode 3. I was just like looking at the very last scene. Battler embraces Beatrice and everything, but just it's not enough for me for how not gross, but how aggressive the scene before was to someone who is in so much pain, and it's so clear how much pain she is in. It's a lot to sort. That
feeling of just there's a lot here is compounded when you get to the scene afterwards with Lambda Delta and Burn, where they basically say, I mean, Beatrice has been saying to herself, like, I've been in a losing game this whole time, it's impossible for me to win. And then you have the two kind of even more meta players, like the people kind of sitting back and pitting these people against each other and watching the show saying, yes, we will not allow Beatrice to win. A miracle will certainly not occur. The only victory Beatrice can achieve is some kind of eternal stalemate, which, of course, given enough time, Burncastle will break through. That's just the nature of Burncastle. It's the nature of the miracle. So then what are these people who are, playing their own game, but also pawns in this bigger game, who are just set against each other? I don't know that Battler's fully grappled with that yet, or that he really understands what's going on. No, when has he ever? But, what else? The only other thing that Battler could do would be to, well, I guess we'll see in the answer arcs, right?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Umineko.
Hey, Jen,
yes,
what's in the answer arcs?
The
answers, how do they work?
You mean the core arcs?
Yeah, the core arcs is not even the thing. The fucking scattering arcs, the unraveling arcs.
Oh,
so what happens is Tim Curry shows up and he goes, "All right, I know who did it."
Oh, thank God, finally. Tim Curry as Ronove in the
What happens is Izzy shows up and goes, "I know who did it."
Okay, Izzy, do you know who did it?
Oh, I know a lot.
Okay.
So now is the time. Welcome to the true, real, hidden tea party, where theories will be set in stone. Everyone will say their final piece, and then theories will be upended, and then they'll make new theories. And this is it. We've got 40 minutes. This is the fucking end of the Umineko question arcs for us. Let's do it. Izzy, what's going on?
I'm gonna begin with the one that I guess is the most bad faith argument, but I think it's what it is. We all remember in fucking White Day when Beatrice says, when Virgilia is like, "Hey Beatrice, let's go back in time," and then everybody agrees to play along with that except Gop, who I guess wasn't part of it. Back to my stance in episode 2 where I said the game's not real. The game's not real because
pure anti-fantasy.
Everything, like the way Beatrice acts, like Virgilia always refers to Beatrice as a child, which I mean is what a mother does. I mean, Virgilia is Beatrice's mom. We'll get to that. But the way she acts is very childlike. Like she has tantrums and stuff like that.
Yes,
and she wants her mom to fix everything. At the end of the day, this is all just Beatrice. I can't tell you the answer of who Beatrice is, but I can tell you that the whole story is just all of Beatrice's family or friends or whatever playing along to create this story for her.
Oh, man.
Holy shit. Okay.
That's it.
Devastating.
I fucking love that idea. How does that explain Angie?
She's part of it too. Yeah, like Angie's just another person who's
about
part
like
of it.
her explorations in the real world and the random people, the random real ass not magic people. Like, how do they factor?
Oh,
in?
that's also part of the thing. They're all playing together to tell Beatrice the story of Umineko no Nakakoro ni.
Oh my!
So does anyone actually die? Like how many levels of faking it is this?
Nobody's dead.
Okay,
Somebody-
so this is like a stage
Kenzo
play?
might die of old age at some point, but nobody dies. None of the murders are real. It's all just a play.
They're all just pretending?
I see.
And whatever she says as red truth is irreversibly true just because she says so, and so they all
Yeah,
follow that.
because-
oh my
Interesting.
fucking!
This is the Haruhi theory, is what you're saying.
Yes, truly.
I don't know what that means.
Uh-huh.
Don't
worry
worry about it.
So what I want to know, how would you then how do you explain the rule that we know about that the witch will always win in the end? Like what do you make of that rule? What do you make of the witch wins by default if no one solves the epitaph?
Well, the rule of that is that everyone usually lets their fucking little kid cousin who has a hard time doing shit win.
Cousin X.
And it's either Beatrice is like young and it's all just a big thing, or she like really wants to, she's someone who's really working on flexing her like creativity and puzzle creation things. And she's like, hey, check out this sick ass epitaph I made, which I have an answer for. And the witch wins when you can't solve the puzzle she made, because she made a sick puzzle. And when you're a kid and you make a little riddle for somebody, it's the best feeling in the world when you stump someone and not when you create something solvable.
So wait, no murders take place.
Yeah, no murders take place.
So where did everybody go then?
What do you mean, where did everybody... It's all pretend!
But Angie's parents didn't come back and only Ava did. Where's everybody else?
It's all pretend.
So you're saying that, Beatrice is a small child and everyone is kind of just playing along with her? That's kind of a dark story to tell a kid, don't you think?
No, I'm not saying... Okay,
she's twisted. We know she's twisted.
And then Rudolph fucked 2 women at the same time.
Probably.
Probably.
No, sorry,
yeah,
3
2
women.
or more
but we're up to
simultaneous.
Okay.
Not
What it
whatever.
is Beatrice is like a teenage girl, and this is a story that she's being told / she's helping write. And all of these stuff that happens after that day doesn't happen after that day. It's just part of the story.
So she's just like playing with dolls or whatever?
Yeah, it's all playing with dolls.
I'm
but
actually going to... I'm going to support your argument. She's not playing with dolls. She's writing the story. We know she wrote the story of the 4 episodes we just fucking played. There's actually evidence backing up
this
what
theory
Izzy is
the
saying.
thing. I don't have anything
But
against
it's
it. I
the
just think it
most correct
sucks.
one.
I don't
Izzy,
want it to be
love This
true.
theory. This fucking blew my mind apart.
I don't like it.
So it's really interesting because, like, the only way to interpret this is basically she wrote these 4 cool stories about what could happen on the island during the family thing and presents it to her cool cousin Battler, who goes,
Yeah,
this sucks, I
that's
wouldn't
exactly
die.
what
that
happened.
explains the sin of 6 years ago.
yeah.
Battler
Battler's
pissed her
sin is
off,
just
and he fucking doesn't
saying her
remember.
writing
He's
sucks.
so lost in the sauce of performing this.
Oh, I know what happened 6 years ago, don't worry.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's my theory.
This is like... It's like that fucking common fan theory that, like, Ash is in a coma in Pokemon. Like, there's, like...
It is kind of
literally
shades.
that, right? Like, you can't disprove it, I guess.
No, but like the common fan theory of Ash being in a coma has nothing in the story backing it except, oh, Ash gets hit in the head a lot. But like this has a lot of it, like the meaning and understanding and what magic
it's
is.
the
is all
Angelica
pretend.
made up all the other Rugrats theory.
It is not that, because there's no evidence.
Yeah, it's like if in Rugrats we knew that Angelica did have dolls that she named after all the other Rugrats. Like, there is some amount of evidence. The message bottles that we know, well, is what I would say. But the message bottles in this case show up inside of the fantasy, inside of the continued fantasy of Beatrice, did all these murders or whatever.
This is so internally consistent. It's thought through. It's not edgy. It's actually less edgy. It's more in the spirit of magic and love and earnestness. This is sick.
I hate it.
Totally not true, I don't think, but this is so fucking sick. I want this world to be true.
I think it's a bad take. I have no reason why it's not true. I just think it sucks.
I love it.
Okay, That's fine.
I love it.
It is worth thinking about.
I don't know. I think if that actually is how it ends, I would be really unsatisfied with it, I guess. I just feel like it just feels like a cop-out. So like while it works, it's considered really consistent, I just feel like it wouldn't be a very satisfying ending.
One thing I'd like to toss out is that we only know about 2 message bottles, and yet we've read 4 episodes.
Yeah, there's probably,
I have been
nobody checked the Great Pacific
wondering.
garbage patch, did they? There's probably 2 more in there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like
someone is using it as
motherfucker.
toilet paper on like a deserted island for sure.
One
Someone's
ocean,
using fucking
one earth.
Alliance as rolling paper somewhere.
Oh my god.
Well, very strong start. Would anyone else like to lob a couple blue truths in the air?
I think Kyrie is trans.
What?
I think Kyrie is trans.
Sure.
Or non-binary.
Kyrie is trans?
She fucked that Rudolph and impregnated him.
That's true. And preg real.
My main evidence is that I'm pretty sure at no point Kasumi ever refers to Kyrie by name, which and also Kyrie is not the expected romanization of her name, which makes me think it's a chosen name. So she's probably at least non-binary.
Oh my god, Curious definitely NB.
And
yeah, huge
that's
NB
it.
icon.
MV icon. She fucked Rudolph and got him pregnant. Love that for her.
Just a little pepper.
Love wins.
Who should I
Me
pick?
again.
I'll pick Izzy. I know you've got more in the barrel.
Yeah.
I want to go with Matt. Let's do Matt. Matt, give me one
Points the gun at Matt.
or a few or whatever.
Sure, I'll do a softball. Shannon is Beatrice.
Okay.
Yes.
So 6 years ago, we actually hear about an interaction that Battler had with someone 6 years ago that he totally forgot about in the story. And I think episode 2 or 3. He's on the beach and Jessica's like, ha ha, Battler's such a fucking loser. Listen to his cool English lines that he used to use.
Episode 3.
And then Shannon's like, and then Shannon talks about how 6 years ago, totally used one on her.
Oh shit.
What was that? What line was that?
I remember that one.
He was like, I'll see you
I remember
next
that.
time in English or whatever. And everyone's making fun of him on the beach in the beginning.
Yeah, Battler had some sort of, I don't want to go as far as to say relationship, because it's very clearly not something that's stuck in his mind, but he clearly hit on Shannon, and she's such a romantic that there's a chance she latched onto it, and over 6 years, that would be a problem.
I mean,
Now to get into my... Okay, you go ahead before I go into my grand theory.
If it was like Shannon's first crush is Battler, like, she is 10 and he is 12. I mean, that's not nearly as bad
There's
as George.
worse age
Yeah.
gaps.
At least it's not George.
It could be
Yeah,
worse.
that's not...
And also, just like, I don't know, Shannon seems like pretty happy with
She
George.
seems pretty
like,
repressed, if I'll be real with you. I kind of buy this one.
I don't follow.
Yeah, like, the way I interpret it is, she is a Cinderella, and in order to give herself her happily ever after, she created her own fairy godmother, Beatrice.
Well, first of all, I fucking love that for her, so I hope you're right. Second of all, what do you have besides the fact that something happened 6 years ago? Jessica could also be
Yeah, it's
Beatrice
not-
because
it's
6
not the
years ago
only thing
Battler
that
said
happened
things to
6
her.
years ago, right?
Battler, you grabbed my boobies, and obviously that's horrible, and I hated it. So now I'm a murder witch. Like what? Like what else?
Well, first of all, Jessica's related to Battler, so I'm not a fan of any potential incest or
Me neither,
weird
but
things
this series
like that.
ain't above it.
I know, but I am, so...
That's true. We write whatever truths we want.
I didn't even whatever. Point being, what other proof is there? Like, why does this mean that Shannon is Beatrice? Why would she kill everyone about that?
Yeah, I don't know why she would kill everyone.
Are you ready? I feel like we need to pass it around one more time before we
Okay.
get back to this, because this is a fucking scream.
Okay, Matt's delaying his turn so that he can fucking let us all simmer in it.
God.
Anna, do you have a competing theory you'd like to offer?
Oh my god.
or-
Okay, let me get into... I will do this as succinctly as possible, which is something I struggle with, and you know this. I will do my best, I swear to God.
Uh-huh.
I don't know exactly what this means, but there are 3 Beatrices. Not in the current time. There are 3 Beatrices in the scope of this story that we are reading as readers. There is Beatrice the Golden... Well, and... fuck me. There's 3 Beatrices plus 1 overtress. There's Beatrice the Golden Witch, who we know, who appears to Battler at the end of episode 1, and is running them at a game, and is complex and has many sides, and asks, who am I? There's her. She is made up of 3 Beatrices in the world of the story, which is what she is so confused about, and they're what causes all this confusion in her and these internal inconsistencies. I'll go chronologically. There's one, the Beatrice that we just learned about, who Lambda Delta granted witchhood to, of some undetermined time in the past, who originated this concept of Beatrice the Witch. This was the trans girl kid. We don't know who they are. In the VN, there is all the information we get about who this person is so far is a setting of a Western-style, sort of dingy bedroom. That's all we get. So there's this original origin Beatrice, whoever that is, who creates this idea of Beatrice the Golden Witch with the endless magic. We don't know if that's Virgilia as a kid. We don't know if that's a tiny blonde child. We have no idea, but this is the person who creates Beatrice. And she is extremely important. She's the one we know the least about. There's the Beatrice Vesseltress, who Rosa met and who existed at some point in the real world as Beatrice, somewhat against her will. We've started developing theories about Virgilia and Renove. We've all sort of talked about this. The people who are, creating this world around her to really make her believe she's Beatrice, but she doesn't know what that means. She's kept locked in the Kuadorian. Her life sucks. Her shit sucks. We feel bad for her, but she does exist in the real world, and that's confirmed by Red Shrews in episode 3. She does not necessarily contain capabilities of magic, and is not necessarily the Golden Witch Beatrice, but she is some embodiment of Beatrice and some amount of the characterization, and very likely a large part of the sort of childish, wondrous kids characterization that's linked to Virgilia and Renove, and all the demons and all of them, and the throwing tantrums, and needing Battler's approval, and all of that. And then third and most importantly, and also most confusingly, the first one is just the most mysterious. The third one is the most confusing, is who the fuck is Beatrice at the mansion in 1986 when everyone is getting murdered? And I don't even know if I want to say who I think that is, because it's just such a sad, painful fucking answer.
Well, now you gotta.
Say it.
I want to hear it.
The images of who Beatrice is, and who Virgilia is, who Renove is, Burn Castle, Lambda Delta, all of their forms that they take, the Chester sisters, Sakutaro, all of the forms that they take are drawn exclusively from Maria's grimoire and notebook. The whole world of magic comes from Maria's world and concept, except for the portrait of Beatrice, of course, which was theoretically created and put there by Kinzo, and the whole family saw it. She became enamored and then created this whole magic world in her own grimoire when she entered into this contract with Brain Magic Beatrice. And there is writing in her journal at multiple times saying how to do spells, how they can happen.
It can't be Maria, though.
It's not Maria. You're right. It's not Maria. She's too young. There's so many reasons why it can't be Maria. Hold on. I'm almost there. I swear. There is only one person in the real world. If this is a real world, we're talking about real world Beatrice. I still believe in magic, and there's a real magic Beatrice. But in terms of the real world Beatrice who could make all of this happen on the game board, who could have orchestrated something like this and passed as Beatrice in front of people who saw her, there is only one person who would have had access to Maria's journal, and we all know who that is. It's Rosa.
It's not Rosa, dude.
Rosa True!
It's Rosa. She's the only one her hair is very similar. It's naturally blonde. Maria is impressionable. She could have at any point donned a Beatrice costume and absolutely fooled Maria. I mean, obviously the demeanor of Beatrice, literally the good witch and the bad witch. Maria says there's no good witch and bad witch. It's a complicated concept in her mind. Maria's got a lot going on, we know. But nonetheless, it's very easy for Maria to have been fooled in this way by Rosa. This to have been set up over many years. Like I said, weird shit is always happening to Rosa specifically in these. Beatrice's relationship to Rosa is especially weird. She's like the adult that Beatrice interacts with sort of directly or obliquely the most. It goes on and on. Rosa's one of the ones who were not sure of her identity in episode 1. In episode 2, she makes it to the end, obviously. Episode 3 and 4, it's a little... Episode 3, she also knows where the gold is and weird shit happens to her. Episode 4, she kind of dies. But also, Beatrice shows up, and we don't see her dead with Maria until... I guess we see her right at the start there, but Battler doesn't see her dead until the very end. All sorts of weird shit going on. It's Rosa. The real world fake imposter Beatrice who's making this happen is Rosa, and it's so horrible. It's crushing to me to know this.
I have one question. What is...
Did she strip the body naked to take the dress?
Oh, yeah.
What is your reasoning behind the... Beatrice that would be in the second half of Memoirs of the Lambda Delta isn't the Beatrice that was Captain Kuadorian?
I don't necessarily know that that's not true. I think those things are not true because the defining feature of the reason I think that they are not the same is the defining feature of the Beatrice we just learned about, who asks Lambda Delta, I want to be a witch, is her absolute self-assuredness. She knows that she is a witch, is the defining trait of this character we've known for 7 seconds. She knows that she is a witch. She has a whole world of magic composed as a kid, and she reaches out to Lambda Delta on her own this way. The Beatrice that Rosa meets, that we see that flashback of, again, this all could be whatever, but as far as we know of her, she literally has no idea who she is. She doesn't really know about magic or magic tricks. She doesn't, her character, the character of real world splat on the ground Beatrice, is literally defined by not knowing who she is. And that is like, again, thinking with emotions and character arcs. Those are two fundamentally different things that would not be likely for this young, trans girl to grow up into a confused person. And we also know about the vessels and things, so it's very likely that this quote-unquote vessel, whoever grows up to be Kuadorian Beatrice, is definitely not the first one who initiated this idea of Beatrice. This child came up with the idea of being Beatrice before such a thing existed, because Lambda Delta was surprised by it and enticed by it. And Kuadorian Beatrice was literally born to be Beatrice in some form, either through magic or horrible, horrible, unspeakable things.
Yeah, there's 2 Beatrices who were held captive at Kuadorian. The Lambda Delta memoirs, one could have been Beatrice 1.
Yeah, she could have been the first person who was held captive at Kuadorian, but also Kuadorian could have existed before then and been for something else. It might not. I mean, yeah, it could. I have nothing to say that they're not. I think they're not the same person. I'm not saying Beatrice 1, Origin Beatrice, was not at Kuadorian, but I'm saying I think Rosa's splat Beatrice and Origin Beatrice are 2 different people.
I guess my other question is, if Rosa is Beatrice, then what was Battler's sin?
That question, I still have no fucking idea. I'm a mystery buffoon. I have no idea. I have no idea. All I figured out is that Rosa is definitely...
I hate it because I hate Rosa, and I want to wish the worst for her in all circumstances, so I can't bear the fact that she could possibly be a character I like, i.e.
Me
Beatrice.
either, I can't.
So
she's not.
I don't like your theory in that reason, but I think it's an interesting one.
She's not Beatrice? You just said she's
not
Beatrice.
The Beatrice we like. They're different people. Meta Beatrice is an amalgam of a desire to create magic and love and a child who wants to have friends. And then she's confused by the evil urges of this fucking crazed Rosa Beatrice.
Okay, I see. I'm buying more into it now.
Meta Beatrice, like by the true meaning of the word meta, like the amalgam Beatrice is really.
That's the end of my theory. We need to keep moving. We need to get to another.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting indeed. Izzy, let's hear another one.
Kenzo personally fathered every child in that orphanage.
That is
cool.
Personally,
correct.
Fathered. Oh, fathered every child. Okay, that's impressive.
What did you think?
Man, the stamina on that guy.
Don't worry about it.
I guess that's where Rudolph got it from.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, look, his hair's white. All right.
I'm going to. I want to put my previous theory. We're just going to put that aside, and I'm going to now think about it as if all of this is real, and we have to think about it. So Kenzo is some weird, wild motherfucker. And he like all this stuff that we hear him say, like all of it's not technically things he said because he's been dead the whole time. But like Canon, Shannon, and Genji having this idea in their head that they are like furniture or whatever. My theory is that Kenzo has been creating via sex multiple children that he's raising in the orphanage to only think of themselves in these ways. So he can teach them that they're furniture so that they can be not only part of his super servant system, but also be ready to die at the drop of a hat at the time when it's time for Beatrice. So you're telling me
that Kenzo's fucking his way into a child army.
Snake, have you heard of the super servant system?
Literally outer heaven. Oh my god.
So here's the thing. I totally believe you.
Yeah.
Go on.
We could think of it as, and here's where it comes in. Genji is trans.
Okay.
And is...
Wait, well... Oh, it all hit me. Look at Susie. His theory. Oh, no.
I don't think you should continue that one.
Don't say it in red! Don't!
confirmation from Jen. She showed her hand. Izzy, you're fucking right.
Oh my god.
Genji, the ultimate father.
Oh my god, Izzy. Okay, well, would you like to continue that line of reasoning?
No, there's no more
Actually-
reasoning. I feel like you all understood where I was going the moment I said that.
No, I got you. All right.
Yeah, that's enough.
Word up.
Thank you.
Get it, sirs. Oh,
Just Battler forgot about Genji being 9 months pregnant at all times.
yeah. How did he do it? Get around his servant duties without people like scooping a little bit?
that's his-
And those couldn't have
that's
all
his
been
sin.
single children,
Well,
right? Like to fill up an
blood's
entire
coming from, I
orphanage
guess.
multiple times over.
Wait, my only question about this theory now is Kinzo still super straight if this is what happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
I don't
1,000,000%.
want to. I don't want Super Straight to be involved in this.
Sorry, okay, I'll leave it out of your beautiful theory. I'm so sorry. Izzy.
You got all the super straight genes, and I'm left with these recessive ones.
I don't know how anyone's going to top that. I mean, Caelum, do you have anything else you want to sprinkle in here before we get to the end of Matt's wind-up punch?
My brain has been completely fucking emptied in the past 2 minutes. I don't think I'm capable of another constructive thought for the rest of my life.
Get fucking
Oh,
ready,
no.
Caelum.
I'm in the same boat. All right, Matt. With that wedding, like fucking like the garlic, the ginger. That's it. The ginger on the sushi plate, fucking cleaning our palate. Now I'm ready to receive the end of Matt's
All right.
theory.
So, you wanted to know why Shannon Beatrice would want to kill Battler.
I do.
Ho. Well, what you need to understand is that Jessica is not Krause's child because Battler is actually Krause's child because Natsui and Unknown Person X conceived Jessica, not Krause. Now, Krause and Unknown Person Y, possibly Beatrice 2, conceived Battler, who Asumo raised. This means Battler is the next head of the family, and George has no chance of taking the headship back while Battler is a member of the family. So, when Battler left the family 6 years ago, the headship was rightfully George's. Jessica never had a claim to it. His return meant that the headship would default back to him once again. Now, Ava, Hideyoshi, and George learn that Jessica is not Krause's child, but they don't know that Battler is Krause's child. And their plan is perfect, and they plan to reveal this information, but they learn that if they do it, then it would reveal that Battler is really the heir, and they would be screwed because Battler's back now. And if Battler didn't come back, then they would have no problems whatsoever. And Shannon is in love with George and is working with him, Ava, and Hideyoshi to pull all this bullshit off.
Okay,
Holy
Ava,
fucking-
Hide, George, Shannon, Triss is what you're saying.
Amalgam Triss.
Is that
yes.
everybody?
I hate that family.
Why
and
would
Genji.
they not just kill Battler then, if that would resolve the line of succession? Battler always lasts until the end. He's the last one that Beatrice kills every single time.
Battler was out of the picture until then. He was not part of the equation. Him coming back was basically a surprise. There was no time to plan for him to come back.
So they were gonna kill everyone regardless. Did you forget the part where murders happen, Matt?
Oh, I'm fucking spinning in my chair. I'm just
I wish you would see
fucking
my
alive right
face
now.
journey during that.
I feel it. I feel that I'm onto something. I am so certain that Battler is actually
Okay.
Krause's child.
Matt, to give you credit, I have been thinking about the fact that the last shitty twist fucking Ryukishi 7 is gonna dump on us is gonna be that there's fucking a mega child swap double wraparound that is the cause of all of this. So I buy it. I'm applauding you for fucking working out the logistics of all that, because you sounded bonkers just saying that out loud right now.
He didn't stop. It was
Rudolph and his 3 mighty penises impregnated many women and gave
Oh
birth to
my
I
many
need to
God.
check the red
There's-
text. I'm pretty sure someone says in red that Battler is Rudolph's son. No?
No. He is the
Okay.
grandson of Kinzo, is what it said. in
Damn,
red.
so that does leave that open.
Oh my god. Matt, if there is a kid swap in there, I'm gonna be pissed. And it's gonna be your fault. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
it
your
would be
fault.
it would be Jessica and Battler were
I
swapped,
love
basically.
the parent trap.
Yeah, it's a pretty good
But
movie.
why would they swap Battler? Like,
and when
yeah.
and how.
They looked at the baby and they were like, "This baby looks like it sucks," so they passed
The
it.
whole,
And they were right.
You know what?
the whole
In
like,
character.
goal of Natsuhi and Krause are to have fucking lights off missionary sex like every single day until Natsuhi successfully carried a child. Why would they trade off the first kid that they got? Well, okay.
For 14 years they try, but it's very clear that either her womb don't work or his dick
They
don't
could have
work.
adopted, I guess.
No, they couldn't have. Not in the Yushumiya family.
So wait, who exchanged these children? When?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
understand.
yeah,
I don't understand why they would baby swap like Battler to fucking Rudolph of all people.
There's some unknown motive X.
Right, yeah,
Shut up.
totally. There's just some unknown reason
who's
X that
Battler's
anything
mom?
could happen.
Battler's mom, it could honestly just be Natsui.
Oh my
hard to
god, Battler deserves Natsui. She's such a better mom.
She's the best mom in this show, and that's really
I
sad.
think Virgilia's a
It
better
is
mom.
sad. The standards are very low.
Virgilia's fisherman children
You
seem
mean
very happy.
Kumasawa?
You're right.
No!
Yeah, sorry. Colonel Volgan's fisherman children are
Oh
very
my god.
One last time.
Got it in. Well, everyone, I'm fucking agog right now. I don't even know how to come back to any of these.
I have even more theories.
Yeah, I kept that last one a secret from even Jen that I was going
You
on
did.
about
I thought I was-
the parentage.
I had like a couple moves I was going to play, and then like I was like, okay, I kind of feel like I have a good understanding of Matt's playbook, and then he just
Yeah, Matt's been
fucking
saying in the
dropped
fucking
this
Discord chat
30
for
page.
like a month now. That's like, what was it, like Beatrice and Battler are siblings?
That was one of my
Oh,
theories.
Matt said fucking 20 different things in Umineko chat. I can't keep track of it all.
Caelum actually saw me post, well, if Shannon is Beatrice, then that means X and Y. And then Caelum was just like, what? And then I just quickly deleted those messages.
What indeed? Well, I hope Shannon is Beatrice anyway. I hope you're half right.
I have a feeling I'm so right.
Yeah, me too.
One other thing I wanted to say was back in episode 1, when everyone is in the tool shed and everything, Shannon is not dead. Hideyoshi lies about that because she's on that whole
Yeah,
team and everything. I don't have anything more to say on that matter
So-
except that I believe that Shannon was
Awesome.
alive.
I mean, well, at that point, then remember who's in the shed at that point. It's Hideyoshi and Cannon. Is Cannon like? Is he in on it? Like, is he just like totally 100% about? Yeah, let's fucking murder everybody too.
No, Cannon was, but then after Ava and Hideyoshi are murdered, then he is no longer.
and that's why
on.
he gets pissed
So
off.
yes, at that point he's on board, but
Oh
he
my
falls off.
god.
So who kills him?
Rudolph.
Rosa.
Is it Kumasawa?
Rosa.
Kumasawa shoots him.
Kumasawa is not a
Rosa.
murderer.
Kumasawa is not
Rosa,
a killer.
he goes
That's
to,
correct.
he sees,
so
he
how does he
sees-
die?
He sees
in that-
Beatrice and goes to kill her. Rosa, who knows? Fucking Rosa's got all sorts of fucking swoop-de-whoop tricks. She runs out the door and magically
Rosa-
locks it.
Rosa's dead at that
She's
point in
not
episode
dead.
1.
Remember?
Her corpse is.
She's
oh, her-
she's
yeah,
Beatrice. She
no.
can't die.
Oh my god. These theories are all getting twisted up inside of each other.
So another red truth is that all the bodies are identified. So if the corpses with the magnet face and everything are still the same
Mhm.
people.
Guarantee the identity of all unidentified corpses. Yeah, totally.
Was it corpses or bodies?
It was one of them. I can find the exact wording.
Sorry, the localization team did such an ace's job that I'm hanging my entire argument on their exact phrasing, and that seems to be the way that they want you to
Yeah,
do it.
that's intentional, and I believe all the red truths are constructed
Yeah.
with all of this stuff in mind. I can't think of anything that
I
breaks.
believe. Did we ever mention that Ryukishi himself, like, actually, like, talked about how good the English localization is? So we mentioned
Yeah.
my favorite fun fact ever, which is that the Witch Hunt, the group that studies like the Rakunjima occult mystery, is named after the localization team for Umineko.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, Izzy,
yeah, witch hunt.
you said that you knew the answer to the epitaph. What is
It's
it?
from the perspective of the Beatrice that grew up in the secret mansion. So the Sweetfish River going through her hometown is through that mansion, and it's the one going down into the sewers, which is why that's where Ava and Rosa went during the end of that bit.
Ah, interesting. That's a cool
Hmm,
theory.
I see.
Oh my god.
Can I
That's
talk about how
totally
stupid I was when I first tried to solve the epitaph? I assumed that the epitaph was from the perspective of Beatrice 1, and so the beloved hometown was like Italy or something. But then I looked up what a sweetfish is, and that's like an actual.
Beatrice has become Italian.
I don't know. She
Totally.
kind of seems Italian to me.
Yeah.
And then I looked up what a sweetfish was, and that's like a very specific kind of fish, and not like just a type of fish. And I was like, oh fuck, I don't know shit.
Yeah, totally. Well, everybody, me here as the witch looking down on all of you. I can say I'm fucking eating. This is a feast for me. I'm stuffing my face right now. Oh, what a
The
wonderful.
golden banquet.
The golden banquet is here and it's for me. I thought about whether or not to like bring some of my own red truths that are not in the novels here, like to combat these theories, but ultimately, I think I will skip that, and I'll just leave things even vaguer.
Oh.
In the
Give me
spirit
the red truth about Goda.
In the spirit of Umineko, red truth about Goda. Well, I don't know. I can't think of a red truth. I would need to consult all other red truths about Goda to make sure I'm in compliance.
Penis delirious.
Yeah, Penis delirious, Goda, 1986. I will say incredibly vaguely, well, maybe you wish it was a little vaguer. No one's right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also,
Actually,
I will
I'm
also
right.
say,
Because Kiri
my
is
one
non-binary, but thank you.
to you, as the witch of communication, that's what I am. Every single one of you has some kernel of truth somewhere deep inside of your theory.
Yeah, Kiri is
She
non-binary. I'm right.
Well,
If we only get one, sure.
and there was something else. What else did I want to say?
No, Battler could be Rudolph and Beatrice 2's child.
It's true.
How
Hey,
many
anybody could
fucking
be
people
anybody's
is Rudolph
child.
fucked?
Oh, sorry, I meant Kraus. It doesn't matter
Okay.
who Rudolph fucks.
Well, that's kind of fucked because like Beatrice 2 is probably Kinzo's kid, right? Yeah. So maybe reconsider that one.
Yeah, gonna pull that one back.
Right. The other thing I wanted to say, everybody has some kernel of the truth somewhere inside of their fucking
Scary to
twisted maze
say
of
right after we
theories.
just said that, but thank you.
But there is one.
Just say that I'm correct.
Okay, wouldn't you like that? At the very end of episode 4, when Beatrice raises up both of her hands,
She powers one.
one falls, and so her final truth is only delivered with half of her power. No one has approached that second hand yet.
what-
No one's even come close to considering that.
I don't know what the
second
fuck
hand
to make. We don't have any of the information. What is the rest of her power? Her truth is who if she says, I show up on the board and kill you. You're gonna die. And that's only half her power. What's the other? What the fuck does that even? I mean, again, this is the thing with the Umineko, the realm of possibilities.
I said that in
what
the
the fuck would
chat.
that mean?
That I forgot about before now. Beatrice set off something, not unlike a small bomb placed in Battler's stomach that killed him while she was not there.
Oh my god.
One small bomb.
A small bomb. All right.
Oh my
The small
God,
bomb
it's
real.
over.
Okay.
I think small bomb is real.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Small Bomb Cast. It's Tuesday.
No. We can't talk about real podcasts on
Wait,
here.
was that a reference?
Yes.
My final piece of advice here as we begin to slowly run over time is that everybody is making very grand sweeping theories, and again, there is at least a kernel in each one of those, but you have all forgotten this is a game played with locked rooms and master keys, and he was there, but she was there, and not one of your theories had anything to do with any of these puzzles.
I didn't go on.
I would say return to those and consider them and how they may or may not fit into your theories, because that is the only way forward for you right now.
All right, guys, let's play the question
Lays
list
down on the
again.
floor.
The
Uninstalls.
torture maze continues.
Fuck
Oh,
them
God.
pussies.
Thank you all so much for attending this tea party and this hidden tea party of Golden Truths on the Umineko podcast. You listener can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at Golden Truths Pod, on the internet at www.goldentruths.net. And you can send us viewer mail, which some people have, which is very surprising
Tears in
and
my
lovely.
fucking
You can
eyes.
send us viewer mail to goldentruthspod@gmail.com. Please do. You can follow me on Tumblr at Daihenshin and on Twitter at Kebs with 4 Bs, KEBBBBS. Matt, where can people find you?
You can find me on Tumblr at Your Paper Pal, and on Twitter at I'm Your Paper Pal. And I won't say the same thing I say every time.
Wow. Izzy, where can people find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/IzzyTimestream. And you can get me at izzytimestream.tumblr.com. My Twitter is IzzyTimestream. And just anywhere where I'm Izzy Timestream, which is everywhere.
And
You
Caelum.
can find me on Twitter as Hivehum, that's HIVEHUM. Otherwise, you can't find me. Good luck.
Yeah, me too. Fuck us. Bye.
Yep. But really, you can find everyone in the torture maze as
Please,
they continue to
don't let
run
me
around.
leave.
When we return, the answer arcs. Episode 5, end of the Golden Witch.
Oh, fuck me. The
do you
end?
mean
Is that
the
what it's
fifth
called? Are you
episode's the end?
serious? You're just gonna
End
drop that
of
on
the
us?
Golden Witch.
There's
So-
3 episodes after that.
So the crux of the theory is that since all the kids are Genji and Kinzo's kids that they all
Oh my
work.
God.
They
the
all
music,
work.
it's coming
music
up
is
louder and
coming up.
louder.
for them,
Everyone-
so they're a big team.
Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch.
I know that I like to do
Beatrice.
whatever my dad says with no
They
questions,
were
so that
raised
checks
to
out.
do that. They were
They
raised
were.
to do
I'm
that.
ending my fucking recording.
So was I, Izzy!
It's over. It's over.
I think the best localization. Limp Biscuit to Flaccid Pancake. Alright, Anna, what can we help you with?
Through, I'll start my recording, so we can't include any of that.
Oh no, you didn't speak during it, and I was recording. We
That's
can
right,
include
now
it.
that we're doing our recordings, we can only use the dub voices.
Uh-huh. You know what? Huh? Nothing? Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
We've technically got, like, 7 minutes before...
Yeah, I can't see what time it
Go
is because
time.
I have a body pillow covering my monitor.
Right.
Here, if you
With
If you
your
dial-
cat in your room, well, does that mean you still need to get up to feed it?
Yes. And she's not in my
Okay.
room right now, somehow. I think it stopped thundering. But
Oh,
yeah,
really?
her food is in a different room.
Thunderstorms. Remember those? No thunderstorms out west. Really fucking me up.
What the fuck, really? I know I went to San Francisco once and I asked the last time it rained and they just started laughing at me.
Caelum, been here
What?
a year. There's not been a single sound of thunder. I want to die.
Literally, like
Where does
it's
it
just
go?
it's the conditions
mountains.
aren't right here.
The
Yeah.
mountains just steal them all.
Can they
I
come
don't.
back?
This is not a meteorology podcast. I can't tell you why this is happening.
Oh,
why
well, there is a
not?
typhoon. We should probably
Well.
figure it out.
Okay.
So, time.is.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I guess we can go
yeah.
ahead and do that.
I keep almost dropping my microphone because turns out that the space on my desk is a little rough.
Oh,
But-
that's right, Caelum. The other thing was that there was a fair amount of desk noise and kind of like shuffling around, which is easy to cut out. But just as much as you can, try to limit that.
Oh yeah, I tried to make sure I wasn't nervously touching anything while I was talking to help editing.
Totally.
But I have to put something in my
Um,
mouth or I'll die at all times.
Oh,
This is
silence
understandable.
phones. Just a reminder.
Oh, that's a
Oh
good
yeah,
idea.
my phone has not been. I don't know when the last time my phone was on make noise. In decades.
Okay. But like my phone, there's a difference between silenced and please don't vibrate on the desk.
I see. Well, simply
My-
just put yours in your lap, like I.
I like my ringtones
I
too much to ever
don't-
mute my phone. I will do it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my
I was very big into
You don't
like setting my own ringtones for a
you
while.
don't have to
my-
miss them.
My
They're still a
ringtones
feature.
are always
No,
they're gone.
things that could feasibly be ringtones, but are also like just clips from it. Mine currently is Noctis's ringtone for Final Fantasy.
See,
Such
that's
an
it. That's how
accurate-
you do it. You want fictional ringtones as your
Yeah,
real
I always do
ringtone. That's the
fictional
way to do
ringtones.
it.
I used to for like 6 years or whatever. I had Facade's phone from Mother 3 as my ringtone
Oh, cute.
for forever. And the problem with my current one is that whenever I play Final Fantasy 15 and Noctis gets a phone call, I think my fucking phone's going off.
I definitely did the set the codec noise as my text noise, and then when I would play through Metal Gear years later, for the first time after I had done that during my teenage years, it would, whenever the fucking codec came up, I was like, what? Oh no,
Well,
that's not.
that's why you just set your ringtone to be the Pester Chum alert.
Ah!
No.
Great, I'm so glad I cannot picture
You
what
just
that
let
sounds
out
like
a
in my head.
Half-Life 1 scientist pain noise?
That's how it makes me feel. Happy National Paper Airplane Day, everybody.
Oh.
Oh, look who's dating the podcast now.
We're not. This part's not going in.
Sure.
You fucking people.
I'll have a word with the editor.
It's May 26, 2021.
Okay. Is everybody
talk
ready to clap? Everybody got the time dot is?
Yeah.
got
Okay,
the
let's
BTS
clap
meme.
on.
And we're doing 3 claps, right?
Yeah, we'll do 3 claps
Hold
just for you,
on.
Izzy.
J.J. Abrams is making a Portal movie. I'm gonna fucking quit.
Is that real? Wait,
that
hang
can't be
on. We have-
real.
Yes, it's real.
We need to not do this, or we will never start the podcast.
No,
It's fine.
we
We
have
have
to
3
do this.
minutes.
Or else we'll
we
be
do have 3
distracted.
minutes, and I do just want to see it.
We're
like
really
the-
excited about the take and the pitch, so it feels like that thing's finally on the rails.
I can't wait for a worse version
Development
of
at Warner
Portal.
Bros.
Like, why
Worst.
bother? They're gonna straight wash GLaDOS.
They
Yeah,
are.
literally.
Why would anyone make a Portal movie?
There's only been one good
It's like a 2-hour game!
video game movie, and
Yeah,
it's whatever
yeah, I
one
was
is your
about to
favorite.
say, it's literally movie length
I'm like,
already.
what if the movie is just a long play?
That would be the funniest fucking...
I can't
I've
wait
seen
for the
that
part
movie.
in the Portal movie where you get stuck on the fucking, what is it, like room test chamber 17 or whatever for like an hour.
Yeah, the like second to last one. That's
Yeah,
really
the second to
hard.
last
Yeah.
one that's like a timing puzzle, and then I just no clipped through because fuck that. Yeah, I
It
can't
was a
wait
good
till that's
puzzle.
in. I'm bad at things with timing. Anyway, we should probably do the claps.
Okay, we've all done our research. Now we can clap. We will clap on 40, 45, and 50.
Okay.
Wahoo!
My clock is 6.3 seconds ahead. Jesus.
Why are you
Get
in the
on
future?
time.
I need to pull it together.
I got the
Um,
I'm gonna date this podcast for you. I got the BTS
That's
meal
fine.
from McDonald's today. Because
Right.
the idea
All
of
right,
getting
and we're done.
K-pop meal from McDonald's is too funny to me, and it's just fucking 10 chicken nuggets. I think they gave me double fries on accident. That was not my order, but they gave me two fries.
Is it just a 10-piece meal? Like,
It's a
is that
10-piece
it?
meal,
Does it come
and
with an
then,
assigned drink or something?
No specific drink, and you have the option of getting sweet chili sauce, but it's
But
optional.
you have that
and
option
don't have
every
to get
time
it.
you
Yeah.
get nuggets.
So it's literally just a 10-piece meal, and I really was stupid enough to pay $10 for it.
With the suggested pairing. Well, the 10-piece meal is $10 here, no matter.
Yeah, and then
No matter if
$10
it's
for
branded
the
or not.
delivery and the
You
tip.
can get 20 pieces for $1 more than 10 pieces. I learned this yesterday. You are paying for the privilege of engaging with nugget, and after that, it's sort of just like 1 cent per extra nugget.
I like the French fry and the medium beverage.
I can't
Well, you
believe
can get
Caelum
that
only
too.
received 2 fries.
Okay. Now it's recording time. Everybody see this outline that I've got here?
Oh my god. Hold on.
No,
Let
I
me
don't.
pull
I
that
gotta
up.
open it.
Okay, it's just a little further up in the when they co-host chat.
It's a lot further. There it is. Okay.
It's
found
very there's really like nothing here because I am this is, if we don't actually go until time today, that'll be fine. But mostly I just want to this is the last episode where before the answer arcs, and so I want to turn it over to you, the question arc readers, to really just have fun in your mystery zone, in the talking about Umineko, like kind of overall so far zone, all of that stuff. And I'll just be in more of a shepherding role. At least that's
Can we
the
go
plan.
over the fan mail?
We
should
can
answer-
say we got fan mail.
We should thank that person by name. Let our viewers know we fucking care.
Let our
Yeah.
viewer know we care when they hear this in
Our
6
viewer
years.
people.
There's
We have like 6 confirmed non plants listening
there's
to this.
people who have responded to added us on Twitter. There's someone personally sent me my personal Tumblr a message today saying, "Hey, I like the podcast."
I
there's
talked
the
to
one that
someone
went to the
too who I
Cultures
don't really know.
podcast.
It's
Yeah.
real. It's happening. We've got maybe 10 people in the world,
Man,
I've got a new
I
follower.
plus all
made
of our
that-
friends we've bullied.
which is included in that number.
You are literally all my
Uh,
friends I bullied.
Okay, well, hang on. Let me do a quick check of the download.
Genuinely
numbers.
uncertain is the person's username.
Yeah.
There's another person who sent fan mail, right?
Thank you, we love you. Mwah,
Right.
mwah.
We've been steadily bleeding downloads for the past few days, which is fine because I have not posted on any accounts for a while. As of this moment, we have 176 downloads.
Bitch,
Damn,
we
all
don't
of our
have that many
podcasts.
phones.
I know.
Those are real people.
I can
Yeah, that's
influence
gross.
them.
We can't
Now
be
it's
having that
and now
many
it's time to corrupt them and turn them all to
Back to
Satan.
Homestuck.
Back to
No!
Homestuck.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what I
I have
just
to
said.
quit this
Yes.
podcast.
Please.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We're all kidneys here.
Any other
Oh, we gotta talk about
final
kidding.
questions
No.
or
Oh,
whatnots?
you want to talk about our Umineko kins? I thought about putting it on the topics list. I didn't,
Please.
but we
I
definitely can.
mean, it might just come up naturally. Please, like, just let the spirit of Beatrice move you to whatever you feel like.
What is the definition of a kin exactly?
Whatever the fuck you want it to.
Wait. Let's save it. Let's save. This is clearly a
Oh
very
my god, I'm
important.
so ready. I'm so ready to
discussion.
take this bullet
That
live
definition
on
means
the
nothing if you don't
podcast
say it
right
in
now.
red.
Oh my
You-
god. Okay, hang on. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up.
No.
Oh. Now my lips are all warmed up, so we're good to go.
Everyone get kissing.
Uh,
Are we taking our break then?
yeah, well, Caelum, you need to get up in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's take our
I
break
can
now,
feed off
Caelum. You can
slightly
just kind of
early,
duck out.
and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Okay, for sure.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we're
god,
breaking
please
now.
live. I
Please
need to
live, Izzy.
like
All right.
do some other small stuff. So this is
Hey,
Okay, for
Izzy,
sure.
how are you?
my
Oh,
head
yeah.
hurt.
Izzy,
You got some
sorry.
ibuprofen
so there's
or
Haruhi,
something? Izzy?
I already took
Umineko,
medicine.
Samus, Peach.
I already
No,
took
but
medicine.
you can take more medicine.
What? Never heard of it.
I'm just saying, I don't want you to suffer, Izzy.
I will. The migraine does not stop until it stops.
Yeah.
Oh,
of
Izzy.
course.
But don't worry, it used to last 3 days. But since I started taking titty pills, it's died down to I almost never get migraines anymore, and when I do, it only lasts like 12 hours.
Oh my god, Izzy, estrogen
that's
is the
good.
magic cure potion.
It's true.
I know it
It's
is.
true.
Wow.
You all are going to be. I know that the last hour or so is going to be everyone theory time, but it's really Izzy's time to fucking go
You're
off
saving
about
your
her.
energy.
I know,
Izzy,
yeah, please.
I'm so ready for your theories. I have no theories to present except Beatrice trans, so I'm
I
so
want
excited to
to-
hear you pop off.
One of my theories, and I'm going to apologize, I might regress a little bit back to my episode 2 standpoint.
No, that's okay. It's all
please, we need
completely
that
right.
energy.
So yeah, I've got a lot boiling. I need to get more water. I'll be right back.
Oh, I
For
was
sure.
gonna...
I'll also step up.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds here. Fucking, my cat, I opened the door to let him in, and he jumped up on my chair before I could get back to it.
Ah! Well, you're just standing. You're doing the standing desk.
There's another chair in the room, thank God, so I just moved him
Oh
and took
my
this one, but
God.
yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay.
I'm back. Oh, it's just me. Finally, podcast is mine. Now, I know it's just me sitting here, but I do want to point out that a friend of mine linked an image of Natsuhi going, "This sort of rudeness cannot be tolerated. How can you face the successor to the Yushiramiya head family and accuse him of eating a cheese?" And it's Kraus, but he's like it's like a triangular prism. I guess that'd be the shape for it. But it's got his face on it. If you're familiar with Tom and Jerry, it's like Jerry saying he has eaten a cheese. It's a very good image. I don't know the original creator of it, but it was linked to me. Very big fan of it. It's just great.
Fucking baby
Okay, I'm back.
disaster cat.
Oh
who
man,
is Burncastle talking to in her letter? Who's it? Who's her dear person who's sick? Is it Satoko? Or
I genuinely...
Keiichi.
It couldn't be Keiichi. Satoko does have an older brother who is sick, but it's because he had the brain worms.
I still have to. I'm so. The only reason I want Umineko to end is so I can start reading Higurashi to figure out what these fucking brain worms are.
Yeah, literally, me too. I just know the characters because I see the
brainworms.
art. Jen, I was just asking who Burncastle is talking to in the letter, so that we don't have to get into all of that during the thing.
For sure. No, there's one suspect, but also it doesn't. Question.
Brainworm.
We'll see. Is everybody here?
If you're expecting me to be your person who's going to slam dunk who that is, I have no clue.
Okay. I feel like there's one person you can suspect pretty off the bat, but I don't know that the way that Burncastle talks to them really bears that out. So we'll see.
I got tea in the interlude.
Nice. I poured all my tea out.
Tea party. What the? We can't get it right.
We can't.
If your definition of tea is liquid with stuff in it, then I have water with ice in it. A tea.
Yeah, that's tea.
I have water with backwash in it.
Oh, that's
Hey,
tea. Sis.
Who's backwash?
Fine.
And
The
that's
vampires, the
tea.
sexy vampire who is now a friendly part of Matt's family.
And
Yeah,
can
I'm
you...
using him as a footstand.
Oh my god.
Whoa. Okay, Beatrice.
Yeah, wait, which side are you on here?
I'm
Matt-
so happy
Matt
I got
Triss
to
is
do a
real.
small little... None of
Triss
you
is
know
real.
this, and only one of you will know this, but I got to do a small little fun thing for Jen. So, when you come back and you edit the recordings, look forward to something fucking stupid.
What? Huh?
What?
What?
During the break, no one else was here, so I got to record something.
Huh?
Oh my god,
What?
you got the secret break moment. I've done all the other ones just to say that I love Natsui and want to marry her. I hope it was
I need
more
to-
interesting than that.
Hi.
He deserves you.
I need a
back.
secret break moment to talk about how good Maria is and how
Hooray.
much I will personally crack Rose's neck.
Does that have to be a
I-
break?
if
Just put it in
anyone-
one
That doesn't
episode.
sound fatal. That sounds like you're going to help her.
You get first crack, Izzy. Don't worry. We'll let you at her first.
We've been narrowly missing saying, like, idioms the correct way the whole episode.
It's what we...
I did olive leaf again on purpose. I just...
yeah, no, I know. It was
That
very
was so funny. I was so
Why don't you go out there and crack a few necks, eh, Izzy?
You got it.
Okay, everybody's here. Is everybody ready to hop back in?
Yeah.
Anything to say
I'm
before
taking
we do?
names and cracking ass.
Hold on, let me scoot up. Oh,
Whoa, don't do that.
I got
Not on
more
the
tea.
podcast, Izzy. As long as the mic doesn't pick it up, I guess.
I mean, you can mute it later. It's fine.
God, if I could crack my coccyx,
Oh, wait. Oh, you people in your... You can just mute
Izzy,
it later.
hold on,
Jen,
hold
you
on,
can just cut
hold
it
on.
out, can't you?
Izzy,
You motherfuckers.
Jennifer,
Hi.
your butt's already got a crack in it.
I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you with my real
And
fist.
with that, we are back.
If there's
I am a DILF, and I'm allowed to make that joke, I'll have you know.
The wind up on
Wow,
that
the
one.
self
Hold on,
love. Welcome
if you
back
call
to
yourself a DILF, you just want to
Umineko
Welcome
masturbate?
back to Golden Truth, the only podcast fucking brave enough for one of its hosts to declare itself a DILF.
I'll say it in red.
Oh, God.
my god.
Oh god.
Well, it's this. Welcome to part 2. There are. I originally envisioned calling this the first part of our podcast,
Hi,
the
Caelum.
Tea Party, and the second part of podcast, the Caelum. Okay,
I'm
I have
so
to say
sorry,
that again.
I don't know what's
did
happening.
Break. I almost didn't break, but I did break when you were gone. You.
Hello.
What's up?
Okay,
is your
I
recording
pressed a
still going?
button and it started rapidly connecting me and disconnecting me from the call, and now I'm in video chat mode for some reason, but I don't have a...
Anna.
Oh my god!
When?
Okay, so it just started.
Anna,
Just
why
gotta-
would you have Audacity focused right now?
You gotta flip the cat over and put it to the side.
Oh my god. Well, we're not back. All of that I just said was fake. Okay, everybody.
Welcome back to Time.is
Welcome
in
back. The third loop. But you're out of sync now, right? You stopped and... Okay, as long as... Okay. As long as everybody...
Welcome back to our Time.is
Alright, I'm
speedrun.
recording again, same settings,
okay,
same
welcome to
everything.
episode 3 of episode 5.
So this truly is a Homestuck podcast.
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, fucking...
Okay, we will... Everyone at Time.is, we will clap on 10 and 15.
For those
And
of
we
you who
are
skipped
back.
to part 5
Oh
of this podcast, I will kill you.
Oh, why would you make this thing so difficult for me?